arm angles. Right-handers hit 187 against Hernandez this year. Left-handers about 90 points higher. The scouting report will follow this little resume of El Duque. 17-9 on the year, an ERA a little over 4 for his career since last June 3rd. 29-13, and going to be the first pitcher since Mike Moore to win his first 4 postseason games. That high leg kick from a windup hides the ball very, very well. 4 seamers. That's a sailing high rider into left-handers. A curveball. He's really a fly ball pitcher. But that last point right there. Any pitch, any arm angle, any count.
So Orlando Hernandez getting ready to take on these Boston Red Sox, who win their final 3 games of that division series scored a total of 44 runs, a postseason record. Their offense is red hot. They had a day off yesterday, and here we go. This evening, the Yankees and the Red Sox underway with a strike. This broadcast also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television.
A word of warning, do not try this at home.
He even raises up on that right toe as he lifts that left leg way up above his chest.
Already a discussion at the plate as the home plate umpire Tim McClellan comes out from behind the catcher Posada, talks to Jose Offerman, and now Jimmy Williams is out to try to figure out what the two are talking about.
I think what may have happened was that Offerman called timeout to step out of the box, but Orlando Hernandez was already in his windup ready to deliver it. And McClellan just saying, make sure you call timeout a little earlier next time.
So the first pitch is strike, and now the second of the night from the right-hander. 1 ball, 1 strike. Talked about trying to win his first 4 postseason games for Hernandez. A total of 22 innings pitched in the postseason. He's allowed only 11 hits and 1 run in the last 2 postseasons, this year and last, as that gets out of play in the count 1-2 on Offerman. And already out to talk to Hernandez is Posada.
A lot of talking going on here early.
Hernandez, who won game 1 of the division series with 8 shutout innings against the Rangers. Only 2 hits allowed. And then that terrific game 4 start last year in Cleveland in the ALCS. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Offerman. Valentin will follow, then Daubach. Offerman lines one into center, and a base hit to start the night for the Red Sox. Well, the offense already off to a good start for the Boston Red Sox. I guess something's got to give. As you look at the Red Sox hitting against the Indians, 47 runs total, a .318 team average, 10 home runs, 28 extra base hits. And the Yankees pitching against the Rangers as it was last year in the division series, absolutely dominating. Here's Valentin. John, 7 out of 22 in that division series against Cleveland. Check on Offerman, who has not stolen a base yet in the postseason, stole 18 during the regular season. Crowd awful quiet here at the start. As the first pitch brought into Valentin, ground ball left side, Jeter throws it into right field. Offerman will head to third, might score. They'll bring him to the plate. He'll score without a play, and over to third is Valentin. It's 1-0 Boston here in the first inning. Jeter, a terrific play to get to that ball. And we've seen him make that play numerous times, but as he leapt and threw, he threw it wild, and the Red Sox have a first inning lead.
Sometimes a second baseman on a play like that has to become a first baseman with the stretch. It looked to me like Knobloch was locked and couldn't cross over. The ball thrown to his right. Had both feet been on the bag, he'd have been a lot more flexible in going to his right. But that crossover step, and Knobloch couldn't at least block the ball.
And a nice job of running by Jose Offerman to immediately recognize the bad throw, hit the bag at second, round third, and come right on in home, waved home by third base coach Wendell Kim.
And now it's Valentin at third with nobody out. There's a fly ball into right for a base hit off the bat of Daubach, and the Red Sox have not slowed down since the division series. First 3 hitters have reached. It's 2-0 Boston here in the first inning, and still nobody out. Just to give you the scoring on the ball hit by Valentin, it's a fielder's choice E6. Valentin now scores on the RBI hit by Daubach.
Daubach got jammed a little bit on this fastball inside part of the plate, hit it down around the trademark. You saw him come off the bat with that top hand, try to drag it through with the bottom hand. Was able to dunk it out there in front of Paul O'Neill.
Pedro Martinez in his reaction over on the dugout bench already having fun, and why not? The Red Sox jump out in front, now have their best hitter at the plate, Garciaparra.
And Cleveland Indians fans are all watching this telecast saying, don't intentionally walk him.
On deck is O'Leary, who did end the Indians during the division series, at least in Game 5. Garciaparra out in front, 1 ball, 1 strike.
After 2 intentional walks to Nomar Garciaparra on 2 pitches, a grand slam home run by Troy O'Leary. The next time up, a 3-run homer.
And in Garciaparra's next at bat, they chose to pitch to him, and he doubled off the wall in left field. So
and then walked O'Leary intentionally.
The 1-1 pitch, Garciaparra, little off balance, pops it into left field. Spencer back to get it, and that is the first out here in the first inning. Runner at first with 1 out. The batter will be O'Leary. 2 big swings of the bat in that Game 5. Just talked about the grand slam, the 3-run home run, 28 home runs during the regular season. You can see the average not great. He was only 4 out of 20 in that division series, but he made 2 big swings count. 1 on, 1 out. And O'Leary takes ball 1. Orlando Hernandez has already given up more runs in this first inning than he had in 22 previous innings pitched during the postseason. The 1-0 to Troy O'Leary. 2 balls, no strikes.
Last year, the Yankees winning 114 games. They won 11 of 13 in the postseason for 125 wins. And you might say, how can any game be a big game? But Game 4 of the ALCS was the biggest game of the year for the Yankees, and it was won by El Duque against the Cleveland Indians.
3 balls, no strikes now on O'Leary. Runner at first is Daubach, only 1 out here in the first inning. And that misses for ball 4 to put 2 on. So it's 2 on with only 1 out. 2 runs already home, and here is ball 4 that missed the outside corner to Troy O'Leary. So a stunning beginning here in the first inning, at least to these Yankee fans who pack in here and usually are as loud as any group we come across. We were just in Cleveland at Jacobs Field on Monday night for that Game 5. They were just shaking Jacobs Field with the noise they were making. Here tonight, at least at the start, eerily quiet. 2 on, 1 out. Time called at the plate. Mike Stanley is the hitter. He wore the Yankee pinstripes from 92 to 95 and again in 97. And Hernandez doesn't appear too comfortable here in the first inning as he steps off again.
He'll try to change the rhythm of the ball game. Red Sox hitters are almost running up to the batter's box right now, the way they've been swinging the bats in this postseason.
2 on, 1 out. Stanley pops it into right. O'Neill back at the track, at the wall to make the catch. The runners tag. Only 1 advances. That's Daubach to third, and it's 1st and 3rd, 2 down.
Usually when a pitcher tries to change the pace of a ball game, he speeds it up. Hernandez elected to slow it down. That did not slow down Mike Stanley. A good low ball hitter who can flat hit the ball the other way and out of this ballpark here at Yankee Stadium. Only 314 down the line, 345 into the position, and 385 to right center field. So a real left-handed hitter or a right-handed hitter with power the other way is dream.
So runners at the corners, 2 out. And the batter is the switch hitting catcher Jason Varitek. And that little pop-up should end along top of the first. Knobloch inning over, but not before damage is done by the Red Sox, showing no signs of slowing down against El Duque. Get a couple and lead by 2 after a half. The 31-year-old left-hander Kent Mercker from Dublin, Ohio, getting ready to take on the Yankees for the first time ever here at Yankee Stadium. We look at the Budweiser starting lineup for the world champion Yankees. They lead it off with Chuck Knobloch at second base. Derek Jeter is batting second and short, with Paul O'Neill hitting third in right field. Bernie Williams cleans up at a great division series, a former LCS MVP. Chili Davis is the DH. They move him up in the batting order with Tino Martinez batting behind Davis at first. Jorge Posada catches. Shane Spencer in left, and Scott Brocious is at third base batting ninth.
And backing up Kent Mercker, Troy O'Leary in left, Darren Lewis in center field, Trot Nixon the right fielder, Valentin and Garciaparra. Garciaparra with 17 errors this year, but no one goes to the right and in any better with that whiplash throwing motion of Garciaparra. Offerman, Stanley, and Varitek behind the plate. Perhaps the second best catcher behind Ivan Rodriguez in the American League.
And they'll be squaring off. The Yankees will against left-hander Kent Mercker. You see his numbers in just under 2 months with the Red Sox. His career numbers as a starter, his career postseason numbers. As I mentioned, he started that fiasco game in Boston. You see the scouting report. He works inside on the right-handers. He doesn't really cut his fastball. It's a straight fastball, and he needs to spot it on both corners. His out pitch is still the changeup, a good straight changeup. Will mix in a very effective three-quarter arm angle curveball. And we mentioned walks are a problem, and we know this Yankees offense a very patient hitting club.
And the first pitch is up for a ball to Chuck Knobloch. I mentioned the fiasco game. That would be the 23-7 game 4.
Yes, good guess. Yeah.
Made the start, couldn't go 2 innings, but his teammates picked him up. Eventually the pitching was good enough, and it set up game 5, which the Red Sox won 12-8. Knobloch takes ball 2.
Don't look for Knobloch to swing until he gets 1 strike.
Yankees would like to get their home crowd right back into the game. A 2-run first inning for the Red Sox is quieted this usually boisterous crowd in the Bronx. There's a strike, and it's 2-1. Knobloch, then Jeter, then O'Neill in the first inning for the Yankees. 2-0 to 2-2. Knobloch set a career high with 18 home runs during the regular season. Had only 2 hits in the division series. They didn't need much offense to advance to take on the Red Sox. Joe Torre's pitching staff allowed only 1 run to the Texas Rangers. The 2-2. Do it again.
When Chuck Knobloch hits the ball hard on the ground, or line drives, of course, he's hitting well. The one problem that he had for about a 6-week period this year was dropping that back shoulder and hitting lazy fly balls to right field. Chris Chambliss, the hitting instructor of the Yankees, continually trying to remind Knobloch to stay on top of the ball when he swings. There's Chris.
The 2-2 is popped up. With that back shoulder dip down as Varitek goes back, gives it a look, struggles and can't make the catch. A pop-up should have been handled. A lot of wind here at Yankee Stadium at the moment, and Knobloch gets a second life here in the first inning.
The wind pushed that ball back away from the stands. You see Varitek backpedaling, gets a glove on it. And once you start that backpedal motion, you're going to have a hard time getting the good part of the glove on that ball, and it hits down in the heel of the glove and pops out of Jason Varitek's mitt.
Brown caused the fumble, and Varitek commits the error. It is an error. It's another 2-2 pitch, and Knobloch fouls this one back and out of play. Is he doing the old dip and rip?
Yep, he surely is. A dip and rip. That dip in that back shoulder. He's done it his last 3 swings, making contact. You can see it right there. Now watch on contact where the back shoulder is. Pretty level on that one. But when you hit that ball up, that is a bad sign. Those lazy fly balls the other way and right side of the infield.
Another 2-2 pitch to Knobloch is popped down the left field line. Trouble if it's fair into the corner. It is foul. A foul ball by 6, 7, 8 feet, and Knobloch, instead of a leadoff home run for the Yankees, will see yet another 2-2 pitch.
That was a different type of dip and rip then.
Well, that lift in his swing may be a byproduct of playing in the Homer Dome up in Minnesota for 7 years, where you can lift the ball in the air and get some cheap home runs. But Knobloch, a much more valuable player to his offense, as you mentioned, when he's hitting the ball on the ground, hitting line drives.
Ninth pitch of this at bat coming here, and again it's a 2-2 delivery from Merker. And a little ground ball on a changeup. Garciaparra gets a tricky hop, one away. You remember the discussion between Jose Offerman and the home plate umpire. Let's find out what was going on. Steve Lyons joins us.
Guys, after the first pitch of the ballgame, that was a strike to Jose Offerman. El Duque took a white handkerchief out of his back pocket and wiped his mouth off. Offerman was questioning the legality of that, and then El Duque took it back out of his pocket and shook it at him a few times as if to taunt him. Then he gave up the line drive up the middle and consequently gave up 2 more runs in the inning. Back to you guys.
All right, Steve.
One thing it wasn't was a flag of truce.
What do we have? We have 2 analysts, 1 play-by-play guy, and not one of the 3 of us saw that.
I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either.
Which is good hygiene, using a handkerchief out there. Most guys use their sleeve.
Here's a pitch inside for a ball to Jeter. The number 2 hitter for the Yankees, and what a year he had. That is not the handkerchief draped around the shoulders of El Duque. That's the towel version as he watches with 1 out, nobody on. Jeter pop it foul. Already a better start to this one for Merker. It seems like a nothing statement, but here in the first inning to battle Knobloch and throw 9 pitches and eventually get him on a ground ball on a changeup. It was a minor victory for Merker here to start his night. Dave Winfield, former colleague and obviously a longtime Yankee, joining us here at Yankee Stadium as Jeter is jammed in the count 1-2.
First breaking ball that Merker has thrown. That's that slider in on the fist of Derek Jeter. Derek fouling it off his left foot.
That's a pitch that Merker really needs to set up well, working in and out with the fastball, then to come back with the breaking ball, put it in a good location. Jeter could only foul it off his leg.
Talked to Merker yesterday. I said, do you get nervous before a start like this? He said, what's to get nervous about? If I stink, I stink. If I'm good, great. I'm a hero. Here's a foul backing out of play, and the count's still 1-2.
It's almost the team attitude of the Red Sox. They're playing with the house's money.
That's what Jimmy Williams told us before the ball game today. You can't be afraid to fail. Go out there and play the game the way you have all year. Have a little fun and don't be afraid to make mistakes.
1 out, nobody on. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Jeter, and that misses inside. 2-2. Paul O'Neill on deck. Merker made his name with the Atlanta Braves, was always the 5th guy in that rotation when they had Avery and Smoltz and Glavine and eventually Maddox. Now a full count on Jeter. Joe Kerrigan, the pitching coach for the Red Sox, watching as Merker lost the edge with this hitter. It was 1-2. Now it's 3-2. And a 1-out walk. Yesterday, sitting down with Merker, we talked to him and got his feelings on tape. His thoughts of starting game 1.
I'm looking forward to it. You know, I think I need to bring my slingshot and a pebble out there with me. I'll be David and try to slay Goliath.
Biblical reference, and in a way, that's how Merker is looking at this start. Nothing wrong with a guy going out there and trying to beat the odds and beat a team that's supposed to beat up on him. 1 ball, 1 on, 1 out, and the first pitch coming to Paul O'Neill with Bernie Williams to follow. And a strike from Merker.
Now, Merker in his time with the Red Sox, 12 stolen bases attempted against him. Only 3 were successful. He has that ability to freeze the runner over there at first base. A slight hesitation at the top of his leg lift.
And there's a look at Jeter, just what you talk about, and Derek read it easily. Well, there was a decision to be made by the Yankees with regard to Paul O'Neill, whether he would be physically able to play in this series. The broken right rib, he's jammed, and he fouls it out of play left side. We go back to Saturday, October 2nd, St. Petersburg, Florida, against the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. In this effort, the Yankees already well out in front in the American League East. October 2nd, the division was already wrapped up. And yet this effort, which is exactly why he is as valuable in the clubhouse as a leader as he is on the field for the Yankees. As a precautionary measure, Shane Spencer added to the roster for Joe Torre. Both are in the starting lineup here tonight. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Paul O'Neill.
I think Ken Merker would be better served in going to the weakness of Paul O'Neill right now. When you have a broken rib, you're not as apt to have as quick a bat, and pitching him inside instead of outside, in my opinion, would be the best way to work Paul until you see him swing a couple of times.
To the right side, Offerman knocks it down, flips it wide, and safe is O'Neill.
Breaking ball and a base hit, but a play that Offerman could clearly make. The ball hit the heel of the glove, and from the seat of his pants, he made the throw. He really had more time than he thought he had.
He had plenty of time to at least get into a more balanced position to make the throw. You see the ball hit off the heel of the glove. Fortunately for Offerman, it stays right there. At this point, he had enough time to make a better balanced throw onto Mike Stanley. You can see Paul O'Neill just now coming into your picture.
So Jose Offerman, who made an error in game 2 of the division series against the Indians, which led to a big inning. It's ruled a base hit, but clearly could have made a better throw, had much more time than he thought. We go back to game 2, and looked like Sandy Alomar Jr. had grounded into a routine double play until that throw. And the Indians went on to an 11-1 victory at home over the Red Sox. Now it's 2 on with 1 out for Bernie Williams. And a comebacker to Merker. Thought about going to third, but ends up throwing to first for the 2nd out of the inning.
Joe, I think he thought about going to third and then second and finally went to first. He did have a play on Paul O'Neill. Paul hit the deck early at second base and never reached second base when he slid. Merker with 1 out, trying to make sure of 1. Watch him look at third, now second, now first. But Paul O'Neill, meanwhile, was sliding and was 4 feet from second base when Kent elected to go to first.
And I think because he checked third base first, and being a left-handed pitcher, his back was turned to the runner going from first to second. He never really did see how close or how far O'Neill was from the bag at second.
And now Chili Davis with a base hit could tie this game. It's 2-0 Red Sox in the 1st inning. Runners on at second and third, 2 out. And a strike over the outside corner.
As Merker looked at third, then second, Paul O'Neill hits the deck. He thinks he's out. And now the last step.
I can't feel too good with a broken rib either to hit the ground as hard as Paul O'Neill did right there.
Chili Davis could tie it with a hit. 1 ball, 1 strike. .372 career RBIs for Chili Davis, who is playing in his 4th league championship series. Merker with a 1-1 pitch. Had him off balance with a changeup, and now Chili Davis in the hole, 1-2.
That changeup for Merker not nearly as effective from the stretch. Martinez on deck. You don't have the lower part of the body deceiving the hitter like you do from the windup.
And that's part of the problem Merker had in his start of the division series. He was really slowing his motion down on the changeup. The Cleveland hitters could see it coming, even though many times it wasn't in the strike zone. They were ready to hit off-speed pitches.
Changeup and a line drive. Caught. Nomar Garciaparra just saved 2 runs. Garciaparra at the top of his leap. What an athlete. What a catch. He just saved 2 runs. 2-0 Boston after 1. A poor defensive play, or at least throw from Offerman, started trouble, but a terrific defensive play ends trouble, and it's 2-0 Boston after 1 here in game 1 as Darren Lewis takes a strike. Lewis has had a nice postseason. 6 out of 16 against the Indians with 2 RBIs. 1 ball, 1 strike from Hernandez.
And Lewis very much an opposite field hitter. Knobloch cheating over a little bit toward the hole between first and second. Bernie Williams in center, shaded a couple of steps over into the gap in right center.
That's strike 2. Take a look at the defense for the Yankees. Play him accordingly. And he's a guy that you watched with the San Francisco Giants. Guy who's played with the Cincinnati Reds, and he, by the way, is the only player in the Red Sox lineup tonight that has any experience in LCS play. He has a grand total of 1 at bat. 1 ball, 2 strikes from Hernandez. Trot Nixon will follow, and then back to Offerman. 2-2. Take a look at David Cone, who did not pitch in the division series. He was scheduled to pitch game 4. There was no game 4, so he will work in game 2 of this LCS tomorrow night. And now it's a full count on Darren Lewis leading off. David Cone will hook up with Pedro's older brother. He is relegated to that title for the rest of his life. Ramon Martinez. He will pitch game 2 for Boston. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and Lewis takes a leadoff walk. He had Lewis set up. He loses Darren Lewis, and that's the second walk handed out by Hernandez.
Where he lost Darren Lewis in that sequence wasn't the 3-2 fastball. It was the 2-2 breaking ball. Lewis has a very difficult time on that inside fastball, and just to throw 2 breaking balls in a row, 1-2 and 2-2, then you make him be perfect on the 3-2 pitch. Darren Lewis, more than any other Red Sox, is a guy you have to challenge with the fastball.
So Lewis on to start the inning, and the batter is Nixon. And he takes a ball low.
A lot of things Jimmy Williams can do right now. Wendell Kim, the third base coach, looking in the dugout. The Sox up by 2. You're more inclined to take chances when you're up. Good hit and run situation here.
And one of the better Red Sox base runners on first base in Darren Lewis.
And so a check on Lewis over at first. Darren Lewis at 62% during the regular season, 16 out of 26. Red Sox up by a couple here in the second inning. Orlando Hernandez is really fishing for some sort of rhythm here at the start.
You're right, Joe. He's too tentative. He's slowing it down too much. A lot of times catchers can solve that problem by flashing the signs down a little quicker.
2 balls, no strikes on Nixon after a leadoff walk. And Nixon was ready to unload, and he fouls it back 2-1.
If as a catcher you put down a tentative sign, you're going to get a tentative pitch.
Because there's a natural delay before giving the sign. Posada will look over to the Yankees bench to get a sign from over there, whether they want El Duque to throw to first, perhaps a pitch out, perhaps a step off.
2 balls, 1 strike, and a look at Lewis. Jorge Posada, who works with Orlando Hernandez start after start after start. So if there's anybody who knows Hernandez on this Yankee team, it's Jorge Posada.
Fastball inside right here.
Runner goes. Swing and a miss at the plate, and down to second is Lewis. Stolen base for Darren Lewis, and that's his second of this postseason.
Don't know whether that was the hit and run or the straight steal. Darren Lewis choosing the right pitch on which to steal. That inside fastball, the catcher's blocked out of that play. And Trot Nixon's check swing adds to the difficulty in making a throw.
So now these two try to figure out a way to get a 2-2 pitch past Trot Nixon. Runner at second, nobody out. Into shallow right center field, a long run, and it bounces in front of Williams. They will hold Lewis at third, and it's first and third with nobody out. Talked about the working relationship between Jorge Posada and Orlando Hernandez. Here are his thoughts on catching the Cuban-born right-hander.
5 starters, he's the toughest to figure out if he's going to be, on that night. Because he's always the same. He goes to the bullpen. He's always the same. He's always early. He's always ready to, get his work down there in the bullpen. And, you catch him in the bullpen, and he's always the same.
Well, these two trying to figure it out here in the early innings, and already the Red Sox lead by a couple, have 2 on with nobody out, and have the top of the order up. Jose Offerman singled his first time, later scored, and he takes ball 1.
If you're the runner at third base with nobody out and a runner on at first, the one thing that you try to keep in mind, you do not want a situation after a ground ball to be first and second and 1 out. So what you have to do is determine the speed of the ground ball that's hit. If it's a chopper toward third, the only play for a guy like Brocious, for instance, will be 1 out. So you have to stay there. If it's a hard hit ball, then Brocious or Jeter or Knobloch will try to go for 2. It's almost like a car pulling out to a stop sign and determining the speed of the car coming towards you as to whether you go or not.
Well, as we approach 9 o'clock here in the East in the Bronx at Yankee Stadium, it's Game 1 of this ALCS. Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, Bob Brenly with you. And the Red Sox, who had scored 21 runs in their last 44 innings coming in to this Game 1, got 2 in the first inning, and they have 2 more on with nobody out here in the second. They're trying to go 2 an inning, trying to add to their Game 1 lead. Runners at the corners with nobody out, and Offerman ahead on the count. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-1. So much said about this series between the Red Sox and the Yankees coming in. The Red Sox, who with runners in scoring position, are hitting .469 during this postseason, asking for a hit from Offerman. Reaching for it, to the plate comes Lewis, and it's a base hit, an infield hit. They throw behind Nixon, safe, and it's 3-0 Boston in the second inning. Just a little clunker to the left side, and after it got past Brocious, Jeter had no play.
Well, Jeter was actually decoyed by Brocious. He thought Scott was going to continue to come, cut the ball off, and make the play. And there's a change of direction on Jeter. He had to go back to his right. Watch.
Yeah, Jeter had started to move toward third base since Brocious had evacuated that position. Jeter was on his way over to cover third base. When Brocious let the ball go, you'll watch Jeter change directions. He'll start in on the ball. When he sees Brocious start to make the play, he heads for third and then has to retrace his steps to make the play, and they cannot get it out.
And now it's first and second with nobody out, and the hitter is Valentin, who reaches for it and pops it up. Waiting for it, Bernie Williams, and that is a big out for the Yankees here in the second. So 2 on, 1 out. The number 3 hitter, Brian Daubach, has a chance. He singled home a run in the first inning. We started to talk about this series and what we will lay out for you during this ALCS between Boston and New York, and the rivalry and the history between these two clubs. A rich history of the Boston Red Sox, rich history of the New York Yankees, and they are intertwined throughout this century. Don Zimmer, who's now the right-hand man for Joe Torre, was the manager of the Red Sox with that collapse in 1978. Boston Massacre, and eventually the home run by Bucky Dent in the one-game playoff. 2 on, 1 out, and Daubach fouls it away, strike one. Garciaparra waits on deck.
Red Sox being very aggressive early in the count. First pitch, if that ball is near the strike zone, whether it's a fastball, a breaking ball, a changeup, Red Sox hitters are just looking for anything in the strike zone on that first pitch, and they're letting the bats go.
Daubach, a 27-year-old rookie. Fouls another, strike two.
Brian would love to have that one back. He just missed that fastball. Red Sox could not be in a better position. They have 2 on, 1 out, and the hitters that hit Hernandez the best, Daubach and Garciaparra this year, have a chance to whack.
Daubach, who struggled during the month of September, did hit 21 home runs during the regular season. Is one of the Red Sox fans' favorite. Jim Rice watching. This crowd finally makes some noise. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, 1 out. 1 and 2.
Bob, you were talking about it between innings. You said the crowd here was shocked, just like the Yankee players.
I absolutely think so. They were up very much before the ball game, but after that first inning, when the Red Sox put that 2 spot on the board, it got very quiet.
Quiet here, loud in New England.
There's the one guy making noise in this park. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Daubach fouls another. You have the buildup, the anticipation for a series. Now it's finally here. The visiting team comes out and scores 2 runs. An error mixed in the first inning. You have this pitching matchup of El Duque, Orlando Hernandez, against Kent Mercker, a guy who couldn't go 2 innings in his start on Sunday night. You think blowout. Right now it's 3-0 Red Sox as Daubach pops it up. Third base side for Brocious. 2 gone.
See Daubach hitting at the top of his helmet with the bat. That's the one thing Hernandez has to do, is come inside the left-handed batters and try to prevent them from leaning out over the plate. He crowded Daubach with that neck-high fastball to get him out.
And now Garciaparra, who made that leaping catch to end the first inning. The tying runs in scoring position moments ago. Now he bats with runners at first and second, 2 out. American League batting champion waits and pops it up into left field. Pretty well hit, but Spencer back near the track. And it's only a 1-run second inning for the Red Sox. Put their first 3 on. Get only 1, leave 2, and after an inning and a half, 2-0 Boston. 3-0 Boston, rather. Well, Ken Mercker back to the hill. His teammates got him 2 in the first, 1 in the second. That adds up to 3. It's 3-0 Boston. And Tino Martinez, Jorge Posada, and Shane Spencer, 6, 7, and 8 hitters, will bat for the Yankees. So they slip Martinez down a spot. He's a guy who has struggled in the ALCS. And he takes a strike from Mercker, hitting only .143 in 17 games coming in for Tino Martinez. In his history during the League Championship Series, 17 strikeouts. 1-1 from Mercker. Rather tame atmosphere, and I know we've talked about it a couple of times already, but for Kent Mercker, it is very different from what he expected coming into this game. Martinez pops it into right. Waiting for it is Nixon. Tino just did get under it, and Nixon makes the catch, one away. We go to the thoughts of Kent Mercker about coming in and pitching here at Yankee Stadium.
It's going to be loud, you know, and I know they're going to be on me, but you know what, as a player, I mean, it motivates you. If you don't let it get to you, you can use it, you know, to your advantage. And like I said, I've never had to face that out here, but we'll find out tonight.
Well, he's finding out, and by his teammates getting him a couple of runs early. It has, at least at the moment, taken the crowd out of it. Posada with one out, nobody on, batting. Switch hitting catcher takes the ball.
I'll tell you, if I was a starting pitcher, I'd rather have my motivation from 3 runs in the first 2 innings than a loud crowd.
Mercker got the 3, and he's pitched rather well with the lead. He did walk Jeter in the first inning. Allowed a hit by O'Neill. This is here with a changeup, and he's 2-0 on Posada.
Mercker, even though he has a 3-run lead, continues to pitch like it's a tie ball game. Good sign, especially early.
Chopper to short, high hop for Garciaparra. 2 up, 2 down here in the second inning for the Yankees. I think unless you see Garciaparra on a day-by-day basis, there's not much made about his arm strength, but I don't see many shortstops that get the ball to first any harder or any quicker than Nomar Garciaparra.
Garciaparra might be the fastest pitcher that Mike Stanley's ever caught from shortstop.
And keep in mind, he's doing it with a bum right wrist. He was plunked on that wrist back on September 25th by Al Reyes of the Baltimore Orioles. Had to miss a game in the division series because of that right wrist, showing no ill effects on the throws across the infield here tonight.
The right wrist taped as Spencer takes low for ball 1. Shane Spencer, who became an instant hero down the stretch last year and then carried that on with 2 home runs in the division series against the Rangers in 1998. He's not active for this past division series, and he is activated and tonight in the lineup. The broken right rib, part of Paul O'Neill, forced Joe Torre to buy a little insurance by putting Spencer on the list. Looks at foul, 2-1.
That is a dangerous pitch to an inside hitter when you're behind in the count. You could see Jason Varitek setting up inside. Shane Spencer is an inside hitter. Some guys like the ball down, others like it up. But Shane Spencer likes it inside, up or down.
2 out with the bases empty, and the 2-1 pitch is grounded to third, foul.
Shane Spencer and the man who was retired right before him, Jorge Posada, the 2 Yankees in the lineup tonight who hit better against left-handed pitching than they do right-handed pitching. Some of the numbers are very comparable, as you might imagine, for Derek Jeter, but Spencer and Posada, 2 guys that wear out left-handed pitching.
So Mercker looking for a perfect second inning. He's 2-2 on Spencer. And with a changeup, had him out in front. Spencer just did get a piece. Mercker trying to do what he couldn't do when he made that Game 4 start in Boston for the Red Sox, and that is complete 2 innings. 1 strike away from doing just that. Spencer pops it down the right field line, slicing into the corner, and foul. So Shane Spencer is active, ready to go, and in the lineup tonight. And Jim Leyritz is not available to Joe Torre. They had to deactivate Leyritz. Joe Torre didn't enjoy going to tell Jim Leyritz that he wasn't going to be active for this series. That could change if the Yankees move on and play in the next round. That's off the end of the bat into left center field and down for a hit. Spencer is on with 2 out here in the second.
Pretty good piece of hitting with 2 strikes. The good hitters protect the outside part of the plate. And when you do that, good things happen. That is a good pitch by Merker. Better hitting by Spencer.
Yeah, you can see how he bent over at the waist, extending his upper body out over the plate so he could reach that changeup that was down and away from him, get enough of the bat on it to hook it back into left center.
Brocious now. The number 9 hitter who drove home 71 runs during the regular season. Takes the ball high. The 1998 postseason. Big numbers for Brocious, who hit down at the bottom of the order and was the World Series MVP. Two balls, no strikes from Merker.
Just like Spencer, when you're behind in the count, stay away. You can come in inside on him with 2 strikes, but not with the count 2 balls and no strikes.
Staying away and hitting the corner with a 90-mile-per-hour fastball to make it 2-1. Knobloch waits on deck. High changeup, and Brocious fouled it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Had that shot of Jimmy Williams. We go in and talk to the managers before the game. You could talk to Joe Torre for an hour. You can talk to Jimmy Williams for an hour, but he's not going to tell you much about what he's thinking going into an LCS.
You're going to do all the talking.
Yeah, but Jimmy, what happens if Merker pitches well for the first 2? We're just playing tonight. Merker's starting. That's it. We're going to go play. We're going to go play baseball. About all you get. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 on, 2 out. Now a full count.
Yeah, and it's not that Jimmy's being arrogant or smart or anything like that. He's just that is his mindset. 1 pitch, 1 inning, 1 hitter, 1 game.
He lives in baseball cliches, but it's an honest reaction from
Absolutely.
a guy who should win Manager of the Year in the American League this year. Runner goes on a 3-2 pitch, and Brocious hits it to deep left field. Back is O'Leary at the wall. Goodbye. Brocious, a 2-run home run. And it's a 3-2 Boston lead.
Talked about it in the first inning. When Merker is working from the stretch, he doesn't have the lower body leg kick and power to deceive the hitter. That changeup stayed up, true to its word, and Brocious turned to catcher Jason Varitek and said, Jason, I'll handle this one.
And true to form, Yankee Stadium lights up.
A 2-strike changeup, in my mind, is always an easier pitch for a hitter to hit. Granted, Kent Merker's out pitch is that changeup, but the hitter's already in a defensive mode. He's trying to protect the plate. That off-speed pitch allows him more time to see the ball, make an adjustment, and still hit it hard.
1 ball, 1 strike on Knobloch, who grounded out his first time up.
Well, basically, it gets back to location. That changeup down around the knees or a little bit lower, you probably get a ground ball to the left side. A changeup where Merker threw it, 2-run home run.
Not only was it not down, but too much of the plate. A fat changeup. And here it is one more time. The motion of Merker from the stretch position. There's not a lot of activity with the lower body, so where's the deception? Brocious not fooled either.
Two balls and a strike on Knobloch. That's pretty well hit to left field. O'Leary back at the wall to make the catch and end the inning. Merker threw 2 innings. But the 10th man just woke up. A wake-up call sent out here in the Bronx thanks to Scott Brocious. A 2-run shot. It's a 1-run Red Sox lead. Well, Ken Merker trying to get through 2 innings. Gave up the hit to Spencer on a pretty good pitch down and away. The changeup to Brocious was not a good pitch, and Scott drove it over the wall and left. It's a 1-run Boston lead. Third inning rolls in, and so does Troy O'Leary, who takes ball 1. And now ball 2. Hernandez, to me, doesn't look like he's got much jump on the ball tonight. As he brings it in, called a high strike, 91 miles per hour. 2 balls and a strike.
Much too deliberate, much too tentative thus far.
Big rip by O'Leary, 2-2.
That's the best fastball he's thrown all night. Had late pop to it.
And that was the shortest amount of time between pitches as Jorge Posada gets his wake-up call for the evening. Right in the nose.
You miss that, don't you? Whew, I do.
Not even a little bit.
2 balls, 2 strikes. O'Leary leading off. Stanley and Varitek will follow. Third inning. And now a full count on Troy O'Leary. Top to bottom, this Red Sox lineup was devastating. The final 3 games against the Indians didn't seem to matter who was at the plate. O'Leary, swing and a miss, goodbye, and that's the first strikeout for Hernandez.
Mike Stanley flying to Paul O'Neill earlier. He had 3 of his 10 hits during the division series were to right field. You know he uses the other part of the field with which to hit, but keep in mind this is Yankee Stadium, not Fenway Park. That's why he has 75 hits to left field and only 14 to right. 360 into the position at Fenway Park to right field, and of course the Green Monster in left. So he's a different hitter in this ballpark.
And true to form, he flied to right his first time up. Got under the ball and flied to the track in right, caught by O'Neill. Took a ball as Hernandez continues to fall behind hitters. Strike on a late breaking pitch from Hernandez. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Not only late breaking, but a late call from home plate umpire Tim McClellan. See that slider just off of the outside corner. Posada with a nice job of holding it there.
Stanley gets a base hit into left field. Mike Stanley is on. The Red Sox have a man at first with 1 out here in the 3rd inning, and Jason Varitek walking in. You know, we talked about Jimmy Williams. You see this Boston team, they take on that mentality. I don't see a lot of guys that are worried about being here at Yankee Stadium. A lot of guys who don't enjoy being the underdog. I think Jimmy Williams loves the role of the underdog. There is no doubt that they were against the Indians, and they rolled through them the final 3 games, and they're out in front here in game 1 of the ALCS, and they have a man at first and only 1 out. Varitek now takes the ball low.
Also, the Red Sox played exceptionally well against the Yankees during the season. Keith Olbermann telling us that the Red Sox beat the Yankees 8 of 12 during the season, including a sweep about a month ago here at Yankee Stadium.
Right in the middle of a long 12-game road trip for the Red Sox. As Varitek pops it foul into the seats. To the upper deck for strike 1. 1 ball, 1 strike.
On that road trip, they went to Seattle, Oakland, New York, and Cleveland, playing 12 games and going 9-3. And in my mind, when you talk to the Red Sox players, in their minds, that's what put them into the postseason.
1 on, 1 out, 1 ball, 1 strike, and Varitek strike 2.
Sewing up his pants is Nomar Garciaparra. He ought to try that on that shirt he wears under his regular shirt.
1 ball, 2 strikes, Varitek.
That thing really needs it.
He can win a batting title. He can play great short. He can sew. He can make julienne fries.
Get shot on Martha Stewart.
One of the most superstitious players in the game today. So I'm sure he's trying to save those pants at all costs. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and now a full count.
Well, whatever he's doing, he's really grinding on it there. Oh, he's fixing a necklace. That's what he was doing.
Right.
See?
There you go. Did look like he was sewing up the pants, the left leg of his pants.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 on, 1 out. Varitek off the end of the bat, right side. It's trying to get out of play. Great effort and a catch by Tino Martinez. 2 out. Some CEO of some Fortune 500 company just met Tino Martinez.
Hey, we saw Jason Varitek earlier in the ball game chase a pop foul behind home plate. You see Varitek trying to wish it out of play. Coach, you mentioned, Joe, a lot of wind here up above the stadium, and that ball appeared to come back close enough for Tino Martinez to make that leaping catch into the stands.
Great catch by Martinez. We've seen another Boston catcher try to wave at a ball. This time it was Varitek, a catcher, trying to push it foul. About 1975 Game 6, Carlton Fisk trying to keep it fair.
And he did. Somebody did.
Only to lose Game 7 and add to the frustration for Red Sox fans. Darren Lewis at the plate, 1 on, 2 out. Red Sox lost the 46 World Series in 7 games to St. Louis. Lost the 67 World Series in 7 games to St. Louis. Lost the 75 World Series in 7 games to Cincinnati. And of course, the 86 World Series in 7 games to the Mets. The curse of the Bambino. We've gone almost 2.5 innings without even mentioning that here in the booth as Jeter makes a leaping catch to take a hit away from Darren Lewis. Joining us here tonight, Derek Jeter made that leaping catch to end the top of the 3rd inning. Leads off the bottom of the 3rd inning with O'Neill and Williams to follow against Kent Mercker. 3-2 Boston. And back to the play by Jeter.
Well, we've seen each shortstop showcase their defensive skills. Garciaparra perhaps got a little higher in the air. Jeter didn't have to get quite as high.
Jeter into right center field. That ball is down on a hop all the way to the wall. Jeter will dig for second and hold with a leadoff double, and there's the tying run for the Yankees here in the 3rd.
Darren Lewis trying to take the best angle on this ball, tailing away from him, realizing that if he can't cut it off, if the ball gets by him, then it's hit hard enough to where he can recover and hold Jeter to a double.
Derek Jeter's parents, Kalamazoo, Michigan, watching as Jeter plugs the gap in right center field.
It looked like his dad was saying triple, triple.
For a while it looked like it, but willing to hold with a double with nobody out, and now O'Neill. Bryce Flory, who was just added to the active roster for the Red Sox, along with Pat Rapp, another right-hander, as they dropped both Tim Wakefield and John Wasden from their pitching staff for this LCS. Flory getting ready, while Mercker faces O'Neill. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Again, remember the first at bat of Paul O'Neill. He broke a bat being jammed by Mercker, and then he got his base hit on a hanging breaking ball away. Once again, with that broken rib, in my opinion, you got to bust Paul O'Neill inside until he proves that he can hit that pitch in his condition.
Trying to at least advance the tying run, the 1-1 pitch. Again, staying away, and that's strike 2. Cleanup hitter Bernie Williams, a switch hitter next.
Mercker probably staying away in this particular at bat. trying to get O'Neill to hit the ball to the left side of the field and keep Jeter at second base.
Merker, no strikeouts tonight, would like one here. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2-2. Paul O'Neill, who drove home 110 runs during the regular season. He's been with these Yankees since 1993, and for the first time in a Yankee uniform, failed to hit 300. The 2-2 pitch. First strikeout of the night, and it comes at a perfect time for the Red Sox and Kent Merker.
Bob, I think you're exactly right. I mean, 5 pitches away on a guy that should be pitched inside. First, the breaking ball misses. Fastball fouled away. Fastball fouled away. Fastball is low. And Paul O'Neill going out on a tight slider. So all 5 pitches away to Paul O'Neill.
In a very awkward swing, you can see after he brought the bat through the strike zone and did not make contact, he tried to pull that right arm down close to the rib cage. It's obvious he's still bothered by that broken rib, and understandably so.
Tying run at second, 1 out now, and ball 1 is high to Bernie Williams. Williams 202 hits during this season, a career high. Very nearly became the Red Sox center fielder over this past offseason. Little phone call to George Steinbrenner, said make me a fair offer and I'll come back. He did, and he ended up 3rd in the American League with an average of .342. 2 balls, no strikes from Merker with Chili Davis on deck. Leadoff double by Jeter. O'Neill struck out. And now Veritek wants to go out and make sure on the signs with Jeter, the runner, down at second.
When you're talking about Kent Merker, you're talking about a pitcher that's had arm problems over the past couple of years. Part of that 5-man Atlanta Brave staff who pitched a no-hitter on April 8, 1994 against the Los Angeles Dodgers in Los Angeles.
And while Merker makes the start here, Ramon Martinez watches. He'll be the starter in Game 2 tomorrow night. Merker brings it on 2-0, and Williams took ball 3.
If you're thinking about stolen base, now's the time to try to do it if you're Derek Jeter. The Yankees are trailing by 1. You're on second base with 1 out. You don't do it with nobody out, or with 2 outs. But with 1 out, it's worth the risk.
Williams grounds off the glove of Valentin. What a play. Throws behind Jeter and Wild. Jeter gets up, goes to third. No throw, and it's first and third, 1 out. Now each shortstop, Jeter and Garciaparra, have shown incredible range and reach. But each have made throwing errors in the early innings of Game 1.
We talked about a change of direction of Derek Jeter unsuccessfully on that ball hit by Offerman in the 2nd inning. That's what Garciaparra had to do after the ball is off the glove of Valentin. The interesting thing is nobody's covering third. Garciaparra, change of direction. Jeter had gone toward third base. He saw Garciaparra going that direction, and Garciaparra threw behind Derek, and the ball eluding Offerman and going into right field. So Jeter goes to third, an error on Garciaparra.
Boy, a tremendously athletic play just to be able to knock that ball down and keep it from going into left field. Jeter at second base, he's kind of in a rocking chair. He wants to go to third. He sees the ball get through, but then Garciaparra made the fantastic play before throwing it away into right field, allowing Jeter to ultimately end up at third base.
If Garciaparra doesn't make that catch and the ball rolls to the outfield, Jeter scores.
It's first and third with one out. It's a single E6, and Chili Davis lines to the second baseman Offerman. 2 gone. Off the end of the bat, looked like it was headed for center field, but not well hit. And it's first and third, 2 out now. So Merker is 1 out away from getting through 3 innings now, and he's already up to 62 pitches on the night.
Yeah, the key total is at 1 in the walk column. Merker's had very good command of his pitches in this ball game, keeping his fastball down low, going up the ladder with the fastball when he's wanted to. He's been hurt on some change-ups that have strayed up and over the heart of the plate, but other than that, he seems to have pretty good command tonight.
And now a lefty-lefty matchup as Merker will deal with Tino Martinez. Tino flied out to right his first time up. Tying run, Jeter is over at third. Go-ahead run is Bernie Williams at first. 2 out. And a line drive, no more again. Garciaparra, another leaping catch to end an inning. He did it in the first. He does it here in the third. And the Yankees strand a couple. They have left 4 on the night. Still trailed by 1 after 3. We welcome you back to the 4th inning. It's still 3-2. The Red Sox out in front. 2 shortstops in this game, trading highlight plays and errant throws for the first 3 innings. Derek Jeter was the one standing on third when Nomar Garciaparra made that leaping catch. Garciaparra saved 2 runs with a leaping catch back in the first inning. Saved at least 1 in the bottom of the 3rd inning with that last play. Now Trot Nixon, the number 9 hitter, will lead off. Boston up by a run. 4th inning now, and Nixon took a strike. Red Sox have had base runners in every inning as Nixon falls into an 0-2 hole.
Talk about an odd lineup and a thunderous lineup at that. How many lineups feature the center fielder and right fielder batting 8th and 9th and the shortstop hitting 4th?
Really is an odd configuration, especially for a team that plays their home games at Fenway Park, but they have their center fielder batting 8th, their right fielder hitting 9th. As you mentioned, the shortstop Garciaparra cleaning up as Nixon takes ball 2. 2-2.
You're used to seeing corner infielders or corner outfielders, in some instances a catcher hitting through the middle part of that lineup, the RBI slots.
Nixon is gone, and that's strikeout number 2 for El Duque. We feature the 2 shortstops, and we give you the 2 plays made by Nomar Garciaparra back in the first inning. This to save 2 runs. And just moments ago to end the 3rd.
And once again, in an odd way, by making that error, Garciaparra saved a run. Because if he doesn't get to that ball, the ball gets to the outfielder. Jeter scores.
Offerman takes ball 1.
It looks like both offenses would be better served trying to hit the ball on the ground to the shortstop, because you can't get it over their heads.
Can't get it over them. Little check swing foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tough to get one around him or through him. When you look at a guy like Garciaparra cleaning up, Jeter could pretty much hit anywhere in this Yankee lineup.
He's cleaned up for the Yankees several times this year.
Offerman pops it up. Long run in for Spencer. He's there, 2 down. Take a guy like Alex Rodriguez in Seattle, a cleanup type hitter. And you really see a change in the shortstop position. Tim, I'm sure you never imagined when you were playing in the 60s and 70s that you would see a shortstop, a 40-40 shortstop like Alex Rodriguez is in Seattle.
Here's that play, the change of direction. Garciaparra making the play, so even though he threw low to second, Jeter went to third. He finished the inning with that fine play. But you're right, Joe. I mean, they have changed. Jeter, Garciaparra, and Rodriguez, 3 stars in the American League that have changed the definition of that position.
Batters Valentin, who is 0 for 2, did reach on a fielder's choice, and the error by Jeter back in the first. He flied to center his next time, and this is into left center field. Well hit. Spencer over his head, up against the wall, and Valentin with that bad left knee limps into second base with a 2-out double. So base runners still in every inning for the Red Sox, and an RBI opportunity for Daubach.
Looked like Spencer took a very shallow line going after this line drive into the gap in left center. Gets over there, ends up looking straight up over his head as that ball actually landed back to his left. You see Valentin as he limps around first base. It's going to take a very well-placed base hit or perhaps an extra base hit to get him home from second base.
Daubach, the man at the plate, drove home a run back in the first inning. 1 out of 2 on the night, and Hernandez steps off.
The Yankee outfielders do not have good throwing arms. Spencer in left field below average. Bernie Williams in center below average. Paul O'Neill leads the outfielders in assists, has an excellent arm, but a broken rib on the right side. So he'll be a little more deliberate getting rid of it.
Strike 1 on Daubach.
And the Red Sox third base coach Wendell Kim has always been very aggressive in his handling of base runners. And he certainly knows the strengths and weaknesses of the Yankee defenders, who's got the arms, who you can run on and who you cannot. But with 2 outs, he figures to be very aggressive in sending Valentin if the opportunity arises.
Strike 2.
So if you're Valentin at second base, you have to cheat somewhere. And the place that he has to cheat is off of second base, particularly with 2 strikes. 2 strikes, 2 outs. He's off. When he sees the ball in the strike zone, he takes off.
Red Sox trying to add to their lead as Daubach strikes out. 3 strikeouts now for Hernandez. A 2-out double wasted by the Red Sox. Boston still up by 1. Back at Yankee Stadium, ready to play in the bottom of the 4th inning. It's a 3-2 Boston lead, and back to the hill is Kent Mercker. Keep in mind that only 4 left-handed starters won here at Yankee Stadium this season. Chuck Finley and Jim Parquet. And then in interleague action, Tom Glavine of the Braves and Al Leiter of the Mets. And if you remember that Sunday night game against the Mets, won by Al Leiter, is what started the Mets on a terrific roll. June 6th, and from then on, it was the Mets either at the top of the National League Eastern Division or running away with a wild card until the final week and a half of the regular season. Talk about the Mets, and as they play in the NLCS, they're down 2-0, losing 4-3 to Atlanta. Game started by Millwood. Rocker pitched in the 8th. John Smoltz worked the 9th inning for the save. 1 ball, 1 strike, and Posada took strike 2. 5-time Cy Young Award winner Roger Clemens will be pitching in Game 3 of this series against Pedro Martinez in a matchup that so many are already talking about. It'll take place on Saturday late afternoon at Fenway Park.
In the shadows. Might be 35 strikeouts and no hits to the 11th inning.
Well, the players are all hoping for some serious overcast on Saturday.
That's right. That's right. Excellent point.
The 2-2 pitch is tapped back to Mercker. And Posada is gone to start the 4th inning. We remind you to look for the Gillette $1 million Strike Zone Challenge in Game 3 of the American League Championship Series on Fox. Is it my juvenile mind that I can't say $1 million without thinking of Austin Powers or Dr. Evil?
Dr. Evil.
Sad.
Little finger to the lips. $1 million.
1 out, nobody on. You bailed out at the end of that, didn't you?
Contagious.
Yes, I did.
You did, didn't he? You got a little nervous,
a little shaky.
little ALCS nerves, and he bailed out on Dr. Evil. 1 out, nobody on, and Spencer pops it foul, backing out of play. Spencer singled and scored a run. He singled with 2 outs in the 2nd inning, right in front of the Brocious 2-run home run. High delivery, and that's out of play for strike 2.
Guys, the last day game that we did in the American League Championship Series was 2 years ago in Cleveland when Mike Mussina started and struck out 15 in 7 innings against the Indians. He was matched as far as runs were scored when Orel Hershiser shut out the Baltimore Orioles for 7 innings. So if they could strike out 15, what's Pedro and Roger Clemens going to do if the sun is shining, as you pointed out, Bob?
Here's strikeout number 2 from Merker on the night as Spencer didn't like the call from Tim McClellan, the home plate umpire. Rung up, 2 up, 2 down, and Merker is still striving for his first perfect inning of the night.
It looked like Spencer thought that ball was up and inside. Good look from up top. Borderline at best.
Best time to crowd a hitter is with 2 strikes, generally speaking.
Scott Brocious now, who is responsible for the 2 runs on the board for the Yankees. 1 on, 2 out. Back in the 2nd.
The old hanging changeup. On a changeup down low and away. Spencer hit it off the end of the bat. That changeup caught way too much plate.
Fastball misses up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Kent Merker is working on 2 days rest. Pitched that Sunday night game in the division series. Really thought he felt too good when he was out there. Merker, who had been injured on September 6th in Seattle when he collided with Wilton Veras in foul territory down the 3rd base side. He hurt his rib cage on the right side. Went on the 15-day disabled list. The ribs starting to feel better. That's trouble down the right field line. If it's fair, diving try by Nixon. Can't get it. It rolls down toward the corner, and Brocious will at least be at 3rd. Played by the 2nd baseman, Offerman. Terrific hustle play by Offerman. And it's a 2-out triple for Scott Brocious.
Jose Offerman just saved a run. If he doesn't trail that play, the ball gets by Nixon, and Trott is thrown on the line up against the padding in right field. He doesn't even know where the ball is. So it took the alert play, Joe. You're right. By Offerman, you can see Nixon, who may have sprained that right wrist. He has no clue where the ball is. Offerman saving a run by trailing the play. And now Scott Brocious with the 2 biggest legs on the cycle, a home run and a triple.
It's good just to see Nixon get back to his feet after sliding head first into that wall down the right field corner.
So all of a sudden the tying run is at 3rd with 2 out for the Yankees, and Chuck Knobloch, who is 0 for 2, stands in. 3-2 Boston. Ball 1 from Merker. Doing very little in this postseason. After a regular season in which he bounced back at least toward the form the Yankees and the rest of baseball saw from Knobloch when he was with the Twins. 2nd year with the Yankees, he took a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Here's Jose Offerman taking nothing for granted, going out to right field, and now realizing that Nixon can't get to it, so he just keeps on running. And had he not done that, to reiterate, Brocious scores.
Steady stops at 3rd, and he watches as ball 2 is up to Knobloch. 2-1. Jeter is next, so Knobloch ought to get something to hammer here with a 2-ball, 1 strike count. Brocious the tying run at 3rd. Ball 3, 3-1.
Well, Jimmy Williams has a right-hander loose and ready to go. I believe that's still Bryce Flory down there for the Red Sox. He began to throw when this inning started.
If Knobloch gets on, I would not be a bit surprised to see Flory in the ball game. Play this game by increments.
He is on with a 2-out walk. Second walk handed out by Merker. And it's runners at the corners with 2 down. 80 pitches on the night for Merker, and that was his last of the evening. Number 80 is it would appear, as Jimmy Williams makes his way out of the dugout. Joe Kerrigan made an earlier visit. We'll wait and see if Williams does make the change. He's at least out there to talk. State his case to Merker. Merker, who was disappointed when he was yanked in the second inning on Sunday night. I'm sure hoping he gets a chance to face Jeter.
The Boston Red Sox beat the Cleveland Indians 3 out of 5, and not one starter won a game. Starters for the Red Sox 0-1 in that 5-game series.
They're going to leave Merker in.
That's a tough decision right here. Because now if you pitch to Jeter, you're committed to pitch to O'Neill.
Sometimes a manager just wants to hear the right things from that pitcher when he goes out there to the mound, and apparently Kent Merker said whatever Jimmy Williams wanted to hear. He's going to leave him in the ball game to face Derek Jeter.
Got O'Neill on deck, a left-handed batter. Bernie Williams, a switch hitter after O'Neill. You've got the tying run at third, the go-ahead run at first with 2 down here in the 4th inning. And we'll see how this decision pays off for Jimmy Williams and the Red Sox. He leaves Merker in, and Merker finds the inside corner for strike 1. Flory at this point might as well have a seat out in the bullpen. Flory has stopped throwing for the moment as the 0-1 is brought home, and Jeter took strike 2 over the inside corner. 0-2.
2 inside fastballs to Derek Jeter. So if you're going to crowd him early, if you're Derek Jeter, you can look for that ball inside late in the count too. Led the American League with opposite field hits and a notorious 2-strike hitter.
1st and 3rd, 2 down, 1-run lead for the Red Sox, and Jeter pops it foul. Back toward the Yankee dugout, and just out of the reach of Veritek. Remember, the wind is working in a manner which would bring that foul ball back toward the field of play. And Veritek, who had one brought back behind him that he missed back in the 1st inning, was about a foot away from making an inning-ending catch at the top step of the Yankee dugout.
Also interesting to note that Derek Jeter hit 84 points lower this year against left-handed pitching. Jimmy Williams certainly aware of that.
Jeter could tie it with a hit. To the 3rd baseman, Valentin. Goes the short way, and the inning is over. We go back to the play by Jose Offerman. About 300 feet away from home plate when he caught up to this ball that got past Trot Nixon. He saved a run at the moment. He saves a run in the inning and keeps the Boston Red Sox out in front by 1. Well, the hustle on the part of Jose Offerman certainly wasn't lost on his teammates. Here's his reception when he got back to the dugout after the bottom of the 4th inning.
Yeah, you would think that Jose Offerman made the inning-ending tremendous defensive play. In fact, he did make a tremendous defensive play that inning.
Saved a run. The Red Sox lead by 1, and that's the first out here in the 5th inning off the bat of Garcia Parra into the glove of Bernie Williams. We talked about Jimmy Williams not being afraid. The easy move last half inning would have been to bring in Bryce Flory. That's an easy move. It's not second guessed. Merker couldn't pitch 2 innings on Sunday. You're facing a guy who had 219 hits during the regular season to lead the major leagues. Jimmy Williams isn't afraid to be second guessed, and he stuck with Merker, and Merker got the out to keep the lead and end the fourth inning.
And Merker will take the mound, we assume, we're not sure, as Rich Garces begins to warm up down there in the bullpen. But with the lefty Paul O'Neill leading off, followed by two switch hitters who hit better from the left side of the plate, it would figure that Merker will go back out to take the ball to start the fifth inning.
And Tino Martinez, the left-handed hitter, is batting fourth.
Missing down and in, now 3-0 on Troy O'Leary, who was walked and struck out tonight. Red Sox got 2 runs in the first inning. 1 run scoring on a throwing error, another on an RBI base hit by Daubach. Led 3-0. An RBI single by Offerman in the second, who, by the way, is 2 out of 3 to go with that good defensive play. There's a strike to O'Leary. And then the Yankees came back with 2 runs in the bottom of the second and a home run by Brocious to make it a 1-run game. No scoring since then as O'Leary lines to right. O'Neill a late break and the catch as he falls on that right side. A broken rib, the right side of his torso, and he came down, made the sliding catch and hit hard, and the crowd appreciates that effort.
You could see the slight grimace on Paul's face when he got up after this sliding catch. And a standing O for Paul O'Neill. You could see the grimace when he lands, too. Watch the face.
What a warrior.
With 2 out now, Stanley takes a strike. Paul O'Neill is as valuable a player as there is in any clubhouse across baseball. 2 out, nobody on, and that's ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike as they chant Paul O'Neill's first name, Paulie, Paulie. This is a guy who helps patrol the clubhouse. Gets these Yankees to play the game the right way, and he leads by example. Fitting he would make the catch to end the top of the 5th inning. They love O'Neill here in the Bronx halfway through game 1. Red Sox up by 1. Will eventually lead off the next inning. And here he is to start the bottom of the 5th for the Yankees, and he takes a ball from Rich Garces.
And with all the left-handed batters coming up, Bob mentioned the 2 switch hitters sandwiched between the left-handed hitting O'Neill, the left-handed hitting Martinez. Jimmy Williams once again says pooey to conventionality.
1 ball, no strikes. Garces, you see the numbers you just did. Terrific out of the bullpen this year for Jimmy Williams.
He did a nice job in relief of Merker in that game in the division series. Came in and pitched 2 1/3 inning of a 1-hit ball, gave up only 1 run, and that scored after he was removed from the ball game.
1 ball, 1 strike. High delivery, and O'Neill fouls it back toward us. You see so many managers that are so hung up on matchups, getting lefty-lefty, righty against a righty. Jimmy Williams has gone the opposite here in the last 2 half innings. Leaving Merker in to face Jeter. Jeter grounded into an inning force out at second base. Now he brings in the right-hander, and O'Neill reaches for one and rolls it to Offerman, 1 away. We keep talking about Jimmy Williams. Let's hear Joe Torre talk about Jimmy Williams.
I put the Boston Red Sox along with the New York Mets as far as 2 clubs that have really have played tough baseball all year and have really gone against the odds, basically. Jimmy Williams is responsible for that in my mind. He's manager of the year, hands down, because of all the problems he had with his main players.
1 out, nobody on, and a pitch up and into Bernie Williams, ball 1.
Tom Gordon, their ace reliever, out for the year. He's back now, but out for most of the year. John Valentin played 113 games. Pedro Martinez on the disabled list. Even Nomar Garciaparra on the disabled list. Thin to start out with. And yet here they are.
1 out, nobody on. The 1-0 pitch. There's a strike from Garces.
When you talk to Jimmy Williams about his ball club, it's hard to get him to be specific. He says, we've just got a bunch of ball players. These guys love to play ball. That's about as much as you get out of Jimmy.
Yeah, he emphasized that these guys are baseball players.
It's cleared a lot up for me. Really? 1 ball, 2 strikes. It's funny. It's such an interesting study because he says what he says, and then afterward he'll come up and go, "Look, I'm sorry. That's just all I have to say."
That's right. I didn't give you much, guys, but hey, it's just the way it is. We're worried about this game right now.
Okay, see you tomorrow.
Yep.
1 ball, 2 strikes, and Williams takes ball 2.
Well, I got a pretty good feeling it'll be the same way tomorrow.
Yep.
You played for the guy.
Well, unfortunately, Jimmy got fired while I was there. I had a lot to do with that.
Maybe that's why he doesn't talk to him.
I guess that's it. Must be me. It's your fault.
2 balls, 2 strikes. 1 out, nobody on Williams. Chili Davis on deck, and Williams hits it into center field. Aaron Lewis, he's automatic in center. 2 up, 2 down.
I'll tell you, as much as any manager managing today, the one guy that comes to mind when I see Jimmy Williams and the way he handles his team and the press, everybody else, is Bobby Cox. Influenced enormously by Cox, both with the Blue Jays, his third base coach. He took over for Bobby Cox in 1986, then returned to Atlanta, became Bobby's third base coach for 6 years. And that's it's almost the way Bobby Cox is diffusing that situation with the New York Mets in Atlanta right now.
2 out, nobody on, and a strike is into Chili Davis. Have you seen in recent memory a manager manage the postseason better than Bobby Cox?
No, not for 2 games. No. Well, really, I guess the Atlanta series too, aided by that remarkable play by Walt Weiss. You have 2 starters with saves, Millwood and Smoltz.
And he did what fans in Cleveland at least wanted Mike Hargrove to do in game 3 of the division series against the Red Sox, and that is go for the throat. You've got a 2-game lead. The Braves at the time had the 1-game lead, and they were really wanting to end the series right there. So he brought in guys out of the bullpen. He brought in Maddox. He brought in Millwood, who got a save. And tonight in Atlanta, he brought in John Smoltz, who got the save. As Chili Davis grounds back to Garces. And so Jimmy Williams brings in the right-hander. 3 left-handed batters to face Garces. A 1-2-3 inning. First time the Yankees have gone in order. Times Square.
I said at the top of the show in the scouting report, very much a fly ball pitcher. He's true to form so far in this ball game.
It's the outside corner. It's a strike in to Jason Varitek. If you don't know the story, Orlando Hernandez, who defected with 7 others on December 26th of 1997, eventually established residency in Costa Rica to gain free agency with Major League Baseball, signed on with the Yankees. Tim talked about it. He's been really the most consistent starter they have had outside of David Wells last year, who was obviously no longer wearing Yankee pinstripes, even though every time somebody asked him, he wishes he was still wearing Yankee pinstripes. But Hernandez has been the most consistent, certainly this year, for Joe Torre. And on 0-2, a line drive base hit off the bat of Varitek into right. Leadoff man is on for the Red Sox here in the 6th inning.
So another ball hit in the air off of Hernandez, and Bob was talking about that scouting report. Curveballs, fastballs, that 4-seamer conducive to fly balls. It's the 2-seamer, the sinker, that goes down that gets the ground balls. But of course, Hernandez doesn't throw that pitch.
So from that I told you so to another. You know, it's a big story now that Orlando Hernandez turned 34 on Monday, not 30 as they report in the media guide here with the Yankees. 1 on, nobody out, and Lewis trying to bunt, bunts it foul. Had more people been paying attention to the Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week 2 months ago.
Yes.
You, sir, Tim McCarver, told the world that El Duque was about to turn 34, not 30. As he took a few years off when he came to the United States.
aided and abetted by Dr. Roberto Echeverria, who is a professor at Yale and wrote a book called The Pride of Havana, a book about Cuban baseball. Matter of fact, Orlando Hernandez played for the Industriales down in Cuba, and that team, or a team formerly named before the revolution back in the late 50s, had been around since 1878. 1878, playing organized baseball in Cuba. That was 2 years after Custer's last stand. Those of you interested in that type of stuff.
He says, smirking at the 30-year-old to his left. 1 ball, 1 strike. With 1 on, nobody out. Bob Costas talked about it during the division series, and I thought said it well when he talked about El Duque. As Lewis bunts it in the air, 1 hop to Martinez, down to second, out. That's the only play. Force out 3-6, and with the speed of Lewis, they were not going to turn 2 anyway. Throw was a little high, but the easy put out on the force out. Just to finish about Hernandez, as we watch the replay of this bunt, which was bunted too hard right at Tino Martinez, and they get the lead runner, Varitek, who doesn't run all that well because he's a catcher.
Oh, please.
Come on. Knock it off.
Go ahead. Show me how well he runs. Wasn't even close.
That wasn't his fault. The ball was bunted too hard.
Bunted too hard. Stay off the catchers.
I know. But what Bob was saying was, it is understandable that somebody like Orlando Hernandez, because of the government situation down in Cuba, he had a lot of his youth taken away, would shave some years off to give himself better opportunity for a bigger contract for more years with Major League Baseball in the United States and Canada. 1 on, 1 out, and the pitch is in for a strike to Trot Nixon.
Which begs the question, why only 4 years? I mean, if you're going to knock some years off, make it worthwhile. Tell him you're 19.
I guess El Duque kind of thinking that you better stay within range. Otherwise, you can't sell it.
Come to think of it, I think now my mom is part Cuban. She's been knocking years off her age for the last 10 years.
I was going to say, you don't have to go to Cuba to find people who knock years off their age. There are a lot of people in this country who do tons of them.
And it happened in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
In Major League Baseball.
Sure.
A lot of players from the South, the rural South, that would tell you one age. And they were actually a few years older than they reported. 1 ball, 1 strike on Trot Nixon. Sorry, Mom. Starts to rain here at Yankee Stadium in a 1-run game, 6th inning. And Nixon pops it up into the raindrops, foul left side, and that is strike 2. We take you back down to Keith Olbermann in the protection of the Yankee dugout.
Yeah, Joe, apart from the fact that we are getting drenched here, you're talking about shaving time off. Yankees signed a pitcher named Rollin Sheldon in 1960, who they were told was 21 years old or 20 years old. Turned out he was actually 23 or 24. So it's happened in their team's history before as well.
Thank you, Keith. It's 1 on, 1 out here. 1 ball, 2 strikes as Hernandez deals with Trot Nixon. Rain lets up a bit, and Nixon into the ball outside, 2-2. Tim, when you brought that up on the Saturday game of the week, did you get any evil stares from El Duque after that?
No. Jose Cardinal, the first base coach and outfield instructor for the Yankees, told me the next day, El Duque's really mad at you. And he said, nah, just kidding.
1 on, 1 out, and Nixon is jammed as he tried to get out of the way, and that ball rolls foul.
That was a key pitch to make contact as far as the Yankees are concerned. There's Jose Cardinal, first base coach for the Yankees. Had Nixon not made contact with this ball, it's 3-2. Darren Lewis is compelled to run at first base. A totally different situation instead of the 2-2 count.
Rain stops. Had a brief shower, and now it stopped here at Yankee Stadium. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 on, 1 out. 1-run Boston lead in the 6th inning. Lewis running. Nixon strikes out, throw down, strike him out, throw him out, inning over. Lewis cut down by Posada.
What a cannon shot by Jorge Posada. I mean, a tracer to get Lewis.
First double play of the night belongs to the Yankees, and we are through 5.5.
Mel Stottlemyre, the pitching coach, and Orlando Hernandez speak primarily in sign language. El Duque is not fluent in English. Mel is not fluent in Spanish. But they get the point across.
A little body English there trying to indicate. It appeared to be the 2-0 pitch. Where was the 2-0 pitch? And El Duque indicated just off the corner.
Tino Martinez swings at the first pitch at the bottom of the 6th inning and pops it up. Offerman and Nixon makes the catch. Offerman peeled away, and Nixon, both were calling for it, was able to throw a glove out and make the catch for the out.
You're absolutely right, Joe. He just threw his glove out here. He took his eye off the ball. He never saw that ball coming down. His eyes were down looking at Jose Offerman. He just stuck his glove out, and the ball caught him. Oh, my.
So a postseason break for the Red Sox. The Bambino must have been sleeping for that moment.
Normally, luck is a loser's lament. Not in this case.
1 out, nobody on, and Posada takes a strike from Garces, who has retired all 4 Yankee hitters he's faced. One out, nobody on, 0-1 on Posada. That's down the left field line, slicing foul for strike 2.
You see more hitters who can't center the ball against Rich Garces. He is on top of you so quickly. Bubblegum machine going. What's going on?
This just caught my eye a moment ago. That's out in left center field. You can see it out that open door. That's basically our vantage point. An ambulance out in left. It backs away here in the 6th inning at Yankee Stadium. 1 out, nobody on. Now 1-2 on the hitter Posada.
Mentioned Garces pitched 2 1/3 inning against the Indians in that division series. Gave up only 1 hit. Tremendous control in that ball game. Painting that outside corner with the fastball and the slider.
Jam Posada and a floater into center field for Lewis, and that's 5 in a row retired by Garces. So with 2 out, nobody on. We'll remind you that that's Friday night when this series will take a rest. Getting back up for Game 3 on Saturday afternoon. Roger Clemens and Pedro Martinez at Fenway.
You'll need your rest for that one.
I was going to say everybody will need a breather before that one.
Spencer is singled, scored a run. Batting with 2 out, nobody on, and that's 2 quick strikes from Garces.
That's often how you can tell a pitcher's effectiveness. Not only that he gets hitters out, but how the hitters make outs. Do they hit it sharply on the ground? Do they hit line drives to outfielders? Catcher and pitcher keep the fat part of the bat off the ball. That's their primary responsibility, and Garces does it wonderfully.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Garces trying to go perfect through 2 innings. Picking up from Merker after 4, tonight's starter. Missing low, 2-2. It will be Garces and others out of the bullpen tonight for the Red Sox. Base is empty with 2 down. Red Sox up by 1, and Spencer strikes out. Through 6 innings in Game 1, Red Sox up by 1. A little luck in the bottom of the 6th inning for the Red Sox and Trot Nixon. Back after this from your local Fox station. 7th inning now of game 1 of this ALCS. Welcome back to the booth. Joe Buck, Bob Brenly, Tim McCarver. We wear these ribbons in support of those stricken with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. Helen Hunter, the widow of Catfish Hunter, throughout the first pitch here tonight. And for those of you stricken with that horrible disease, and for those trying to find a cure, we wear these ribbons in your honor. Helen Hunter watching throughout the ceremonial first pitch tonight with son Todd, son Paul, and daughter Kim, who is seated next to Helen. And one of the most beloved Yankees who passed away earlier this year. Pitched with the Athletics, pitched with the Yankees. Stricken with ALS, and baseball lost a good friend earlier this season. As the pitch is up and in, 1 ball, 1 strike. To the leadoff hitter in this lineup for Boston, Jose Offerman. Derek Lowe, who has been solid out of the bullpen for the Red Sox this season and in the postseason. Little stumble in game 5, but it didn't cost the Red Sox in the division series. Starts to loosen. So it starts to rain again here at Yankee Stadium as we begin the 7th inning. That can't be safe. Offerman flies into right center field. Pretty well hit. Bernie Williams a long run. 1 away, and Offerman is 2 out of 4. Williams, who made a couple of terrific catches in the division series against Texas, including one in game 1 when the Yankees won 8-0 and Bernie drove in 6 runs. It's a rather routine catch. 1 out. The batter is Valentin, who has doubled, reached on a fielder's choice in an error, and scored a run.
We saw El Duque drop down on that first pitch here to John Valentin. He has not changed his arm angle in this game as much as we anticipated. Dropped down to throw a slider here. First pitch to the Red Sox third baseman, misses just off of the outside corner.
Dropping down there and hitting the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike.
When El Duque drops down like that, there is no way for the ball to go down. It has to stay on an even plane. So what would normally be a curveball going down turns into a slider in effect, breaking parallel to the ground.
Valentin out in front, then strike 2. The report initially was we would have rain here in New York, but after the game. 10:36 here in the Bronx, but the rain came early.
Weatherman thought it was a day game.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out, nobody on. Valentin fouls another. I made a sarcastic comment one time on a Cardinal broadcast. I said, now I'm no meteorologist, I'm far too qualified, but it doesn't look like it's going to rain for much longer. Well, you have never received a letter any nastier from any group out there than from this one meteorologist who was speaking for the entire group, and it was nasty.
Ooh, thank you, doctor.
2 balls, 2 strikes now on Valentin.
The gentleman came prepared.
Old man in the sea, right out of Hemingway.
The 2-2 pitch. Valentin hits it well into right. Back is O'Neill at the wall to make the catch. 2 down. And O'Neill had about 1 more step before he was pinned up against that blue wall.
Yet another fly ball out for Hernandez. 2 in this inning. He has 14 fly ball outs during the game. None on the ground. As Paul O'Neill makes the catch rather easily.
And you got to believe Joe Torre and his staff and the trainers for the Yankees were holding their breath as O'Neill went back closer and closer to that right field wall.
Gene Monahan, the trainer for the Yankees, watching as with 2 out, nobody on, Daubach, the number 3 hitter, takes a ball. Rain lightens up a little. Daubach, the Belleville Basher. Belleville, Illinois, just across the river from St. Louis. 21 home runs in this his rookie season. Finally got a shot and certainly made the most of it.
Dangerous situation right here. 2-0 to a pull power hitter.
Looking for the pump. 2 balls, no strikes. 2-1. Garciaparra, who has been held hitless tonight, but has certainly made his presence felt, saving at least 3 runs defensively. Waits on deck.
There are indications that managers and pitching coaches look for, and when a power hitter fouls back a fastball on a 2-0 count in the 7th inning and fouls it back the other way, that's a good sign, a sign he's still throwing well.
Bases empty with 2 down, and Daubach pops it back here. 2-2. Some of these fans here at Yankee Stadium get a head start on the 7th inning stretch. Into left center field. Williams to his right. And the Red Sox go in order in the 7th. Time to stretch here at Yankee Stadium. Game 1 of the ALCS. Brosius, Knobloch, Jeter due up for the Yankees. They trail Boston by 1. While Orlando Hernandez has gone 7 for the Yankees, a group effort tonight for the Red Sox. Merker for 4, Garcias for 2, and now Derek Lowe, 3rd pitcher of the night for the Red Sox.
Outstanding numbers for Derek Lowe on the season. You see the Lowe hit total. A power sinker. Say 15 games on the season. A very odd combination for a pitcher. He throws a hard sinker and an overhand curveball. Generally, sinker ball pitchers complement that pitch with a hard slider breaking the opposite direction. Lowe features a big overhand curve to go along with that sinking fastball.
Brosius, who has been a handful tonight for the Red Sox with a 2-run home run and a triple, leads off. Takes a strike.
Each time through the order, Jimmy Williams giving the Yankees a different look. The left-hander, Kent Merker, and then the over-the-top Rich Garcias, who throws a slider, and as Bob said, now the sinker curveball. And that was the curve there.
Tomorrow night it's Ramon Martinez for the Red Sox, and you would figure it'll be another long night for the Red Sox bullpen.
Sure.
Guy who lasted 5 2/3 innings in his division series starting game 3. Hard hit through the left side, and a leadoff base hit for Brosius, who's 3 for 3. Tying run is on to start the 7th inning for the Yankees.
Derek Lowe just got a little bit too greedy on the 0-2 pitch, threw a sinker over the heart of the plate that Brosius was able to line through that left side. Steve Valentin, hobbled by that bad knee, really cuts down on his lateral range at 3rd base.
How many times do you see a team trailing by a run and a hitter in their lineup missing only a double for the cycle? Home run, triple, and single for Scott Brosius.
And now what do you do with Knobloch? Is he up there to bunt?
I think so.
Run up?
I think so. I think you straight bunt right here.
Which he does, and it's a perfect bunt. Lowe makes the play, and out at first with Offerman covering. And the sacrifice is good, 1-4. With a tying run down to 2nd with 1 out here in the 7th inning after this.
Sometimes you have to play it straight up because of the people that are coming up behind the guy you bunt with. And with the meat of the order, Derek Jeter, Paul O'Neill, Bernie Williams coming up, Joe Torre properly, in my opinion, playing it straight.
I agree, Tim. That's the right move to make, but it had to be tough for Chuck Knobloch, a guy that's 6 for 13 this season against Derek Lowe with a home run.
Wow.
And now Jeter. Jeter had a chance with 2 on. Yankees down by a run in the 4th inning. Grounded into a force-out. That was against Merker. Against Lowe, he takes a strike. Number 5 on the all-time Yankee list. A .318 career average for Jeter. in a Yankee uniform. To the right side, a base hit. They bring Brocious around third. Throw by Nixon to the plate is dropped. Safe. Tie game, and down to second is Jeter. With the parents of Derek Jeter watching, the base hit into right, a strong throw by Nixon, and Varitek dropped it.
Boy, are you ever right. That was a terrific play on the part of Trot Nixon, because Jeter doesn't hit it that well. Fielded well on the short hop, and a good throw to Varitek. That was not an in-between hop. That ball was right there. Brocious crashing into Varitek. I think what happened, Jason, looked like he took a peek at the last minute as Brocious came into him. And by taking a peek at the runner, he dropped the ball. Right there.
You could see Varitek's head start to move to the left to pick up Brocious coming down that third base line. Just a split second before the ball got there.
Bob, I think it's epidemic with Major League catchers who are wearing their mask when they protect home plate. The one thing that wearing the mask does, it cuts down on your peripheral vision. When you're looking to your left, you're seeing bars, not the runner. And Varitek had the mask on, and Brocious knocked it off. See a lot of Major League catchers trying to block home plate with their mask on, and to me, it's not the proper approach. You don't get the proper look at the runner, and it costs Varitek here.
And most runners coming into home plate don't go for your head anyway. They go for the glove. They try to jar the ball loose.
Now the go-ahead run at second, only one out for Paul O'Neill. Strike one. The Red Sox, who have only one left-hander in their bullpen, Real Cormier, have Derek Lowe on the mound. And it'll be one lefty after another to the plate for the Yankees, and it's the right-hander, Tom Gordon, getting loose. And he just started to throw. The Yankees now a hit away from taking the lead. To the left side, and Garciaparra kicks it. Can't handle it, and O'Neill's safe at first. Second error of the night for Garciaparra.
Looked like the ball came up on him just a little bit, hit the heel of the glove, and jumped up in the air on Nomar Garciaparra. At that point, he thought he still had a play on Paul O'Neill. He finds the ball, makes the play, but can't find the handle the second time. That allowed O'Neill to reach first base.
The defense behind Derek Lowe in the postseason has been awful for the Red Sox. Go back to game one of the division series. The error by Valentin, followed by a two-out game-tying two-run home run from Jim Thome. Varitek just dropped an out at the plate, and Garciaparra makes an error to put two on with one out, and Williams grounds to short. Garciaparra out at second. Bad throw and saved by Stanley. No double play, and it's first and third, two out.
The ball was not hit that hard, and what that did, it gave Paul O'Neill a chance to get down on top of Jose Offerman and perhaps cause the bad throw. Nope, Offerman had a clear shot, dropped on the back end.
Now, Boston turned the fewest double plays in the American League this year, mostly due to the fact that Jose Offerman has a lot of problems making the exchange and getting that ball off to the first baseman. Everything looked good at that point, but Offerman just spikes the ball into the ground. Nice job by Mike Stanley to block it over there and prevent the run from scoring.
I think in fairness to Jose, in this particular instance, that ball took too many hops to get to Garciaparra. It would have been a masterful job of turning a double play.
So the inning lives on. First and third, two out in a 3-3 game, seventh inning, game one, American League Championship Series. Chili Davis at the plate. that put the Yankees out in front for the first time tonight takes a strike from Derek Lowe. We could talk for a day about the talents of these two, Derek Jeter and Nomar Garciaparra. Each are in the error column tonight. Garciaparra 2 times. Jeter with a hit that tied this game here in the 7th inning. There's a ball inside to Davis. 1 ball, 1 strike. With the rain pounding down in the 7th inning, Davis gets a good rip. It fouls it back. Strike 2.
Now with Davis in the hole and 2 outs, the Yankees don't use this play very often. They don't try to steal a cheap run. But since Davis is in the hole, you might see Williams run, stop getting a rundown, and try to score Jeter. They did it in Game 1 of the divisional series against Texas last year with Chad Curtis on at third.
Jeter and Williams, the base runners for the Yankees. Davis fouls another. Chili Davis, who has been in the LCS last year with the Yankees, in '87 with the Giants, '91 with Minnesota. There's a total of 7 RBIs in LCS play. This would be a big one here with 2 out in the 7th inning. Hernandez settling down on the mound for the Yankees. Pedro Martinez cheering from the Red Sox dugout. Runner at first goes, and they pay no attention to Bernie Williams. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Chili Davis.
That was a planned play. Neither Garciaparra nor Offerman covered on the play. Veritek not throwing and just giving Bernie Williams second base. Now a single could score 2.
It is a steal for Bernie Williams. 2nd and 3rd, 2 out. The 2-2 to Davis. Foul. Tag toward the top of the upper deck. Hit up in the lights.
A sinker just off the inside part of the plate, and with 2 strikes, Chili Davis is thinking protect the plate. He hit that one in the hot dog stand.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Davis 0 for 3 tonight. Inning over. Derek Lowe keeps it a 1-run inning. It could have been a scoreless inning. A dropped ball at the plate by Veritek, and the Yankees have tied it. Through 7 in Game 1. Yankees 3. Red Sox 3. We get into the 8th inning now, a 3-3 game action for the Yankees out in their bullpen. Jeff Nelson is the right-hander, Mike Stanton the lefty. We go back to that throw by Trot Nixon, which in retrospect was a sensational throw.
You want to talk about getting every part of your body into a throw. Watch Trot Nixon after he lets this go. He's airborne. And it was a strong throw to the plate on 1 hop. Veritek just didn't hold on to the ball. See the mask come flying off there at the end of the play.
That was the tying run in the bottom of the 7th inning. Now here in the 8th, it's Garciaparra to lead off against El Duque, who has retired 9 of the last 10. And there's strike 1.
Nomar's going to see that pitch again. It would be dead wrong for Hernandez to try to come inside to Garciaparra in this situation. Too quick.
1999 led the American League with that .357 average. 1998, 30-plus home runs in his first 2 years in the major leagues. One of the game's biggest, brightest stars. For Rookie of the Year in '97. The 2-ball, 1-strike pitch is popped up. Behind the plate, Posada gives it a look. Has a play and makes a basket catch. 1 out. And a big threat is gone as Garciaparra fouls out to start the 8th.
How about that? He did bust him inside with a fastball. And that wind, once again, brought that ball back. Jorge Posada paying attention to what happened earlier to both Varitek and Martinez.
Now, normally you would tell your catcher to run back to the wall, find the ball, and then make an adjustment. But because the wind is blowing, you see Posada just kind of glides on it. He knows that ball's going to come back somewhat and makes the basket catch.
And now O'Leary grounds to first, picked up by Martinez. 2 up, 2 down. And the heart of the order is going quietly as Hernandez now is retired 11 of the last 12.
Used to be in baseball that the third baseman and first baseman would always be on the line in a tie game from the 7th inning on. The managers are more selective right now, but Joe Torre putting Tino Martinez over there properly with the pull hitting O'Leary, and that saved the double for the Red Sox.
And now Scott Broch is playing a couple steps closer to the third baseline.
As Stanley takes ball 1 low and away. Approaching 110 pitches on the night is El Duque here in the 8th inning with 2 out, nobody on. The bottom of this 8th, it'll be Martinez, Posada, and Spencer. Numbers on the night for Hernandez, who gave up 2 in the first, 1 in the second, and nothing since then. 11 in, 2-0, pretty good pitch. Two balls, no strikes on Stanley. That's a strike on a breaking ball. 2-1. Stanley singled back in the third. 1 out of 3 on the evening. And that's hit well into center field, but not deep enough. Is approaching the track. Williams puts it in the leather, and Stanley is gone. A 1-2-3 inning in the 8th inning for Hernandez, who is really pitching well. Bottom of the 8th, still tied at 3. And then Spencer, scheduled hitters in this inning, and that's ball 2, 2-0.
It looks like Rivera is warming up to come into the game, whether the game's tied or the Yankees are ahead. Certainly he'll be in it if they're ahead.
3-0 from Derek Lowe to the leadoff hitter in a tie game 8th inning. Cormier and Beck getting loose for the Red Sox in their bullpen as Lowe finds the strike zone. 3-1.
Joe not quite as animated as Popeye in that shot.
Martinez with a full count, 3-2. Getting some encouragement from Don Zimmer. Martinez 2 out of 14 this postseason. Hernandez cleaning the mud out of the spikes. It's been raining here at Yankee Stadium. 3-2 pitch is strike 3 called over the inside corner. From a 3-0 count, and Derek Lowe comes roaring back to strike out Martinez looking. Don't forget that tomorrow it's game 2 of this ALCS. The Red Sox and the Yankees at 8 Eastern. Juan Martinez will pitch for the Red Sox against David Cone. Then Friday it's game 3 from here in New York, Shea Stadium. The Braves and the Mets. Braves up 2-0. That's on NBC. 1 out, nobody on, and here's Posada, and there's a big rip and a foul.
Might be saying at home, how can a power hitter like Tino Martinez in a tie game take a fastball on a 3-2 count right down the middle? What I think happened was Derek Lowe appeared to jerk that ball. A lot of pitchers will do that. Martinez looking outside, and Derek came across his body, and that ball tailing back over the inside corner, or even a fatter part of the plate. Something in the look confused Martinez.
Speaking of looks, the opposite end of the spectrum with regard to Derek Lowe's windup compared to that of Orlando Hernandez. The breaking ball is low from Lowe. 2-1 on Posada.
Here's that 3-2 pitch. You can see even Varitek is set up outside, but this ball is jerked inside and came over the fat part of the inside corner.
Posada up on the count, 2 balls and a strike. And a ground ball to Offerman. Backhanded pickup. 2 up, 2 down. A little different look from Derek Lowe as he winds up and brings it to the plate.
Very economical, keeps his body over his legs, which may sound funny, but a lot of pitchers, as they go into their windup, will rock back and then step into their delivery. Dick Cole, who was the former pitching coach here in Boston, cut down on his delivery to home plate, told him to keep his upper body and his head over his legs. You see that very unusual sidestep, and goes right into his windup.
Now it's Joe Kerrigan. His 3rd season with the Red Sox, former pitching coach for the Montreal Expos, where he helped tutor Pedro Martinez, who is also now with Boston. Spencer, strike 1.
It's a very odd look for a tall right-hander, 6'4½", to keep the right leg stiff and throw the ball down in the strike zone as Lowe does.
Raining as hard now as it has at any point tonight. It's 0-2 on Spencer. Fans head for cover. 2 out, nobody on in the bottom of the 8th inning of a 3-3 game. Game 1 of the ALCS. Spencer takes ball 1. Shane a single, a run scored. He struck out twice since then and faces Lowe for the first time tonight. Spencer went. Tried to check his swing. He's rung up by Dan Morrison and can't believe it. So a 1-2-3 inning for Derek Lowe. We go to the 9th inning. Tied at 3. Through 8 innings now in game 1, a 3-3 score. And with the rain continuing to fall, although it's letting up at this moment, Mariano Rivera takes over and the grounds crew feverishly spreading that diamond dust or whatever that junk is they throw out. Here's cooperation. It's all about cooperation in this world, isn't it? And here's the ball boy for the Boston Red Sox. Not asked, but just helping.
And we appreciate that.
The ground crew here at Yankee Stadium does not use that turfus. That's that junk that Joe referred to. That's what it's called. On opening day this year against the Detroit Tigers, it was raining so hard that they had to use 10 tons of turfus. 10 tons.
10 tons.
10 tons. That's a lot of turfus, isn't it?
Well, they've completely rebuilt that mound out there in the time it took Mariano Rivera to get in from the left field bullpen.
That thing's as high as it was when Gibson was pitching. It's 15 inches high. It's 1968. A 1.12 ERA. Denny McClain, 31 wins. Here's Joe Torre talking about the growth of Mariano Rivera as the Yankee closer.
Watching him grow after doing an outstanding job in '96 as a setup man, to grow into the role he has now has been really fun to watch. He's no longer thinking of strikeouts, even though he's very capable of striking everybody out. And he's been very economical with his pitches. But as far as taking him for granted, it's nice to know that you have him in your pocket when the 8th or 9th inning comes around and you have a lead.
Well, no lead tonight, but it is the 9th inning, and Joe Torre goes to a guy who this season saved 45 games, and you go back over his last 30 appearances, he is unscored upon in any of those last 30 appearances, including the 2 postseason outings he had in the division series against the Rangers.
The one thing you can do, if you do get someone on, you can run on Rivera.
It's a big if.
Yeah, that's right. He does not allow many base runners.
You see the numbers on Mariano Rivera this season, the 45 saves, 52 strikeouts in 69 innings. That number could be considerably higher. You heard Joe Torre say he doesn't necessarily go for the strikeout all the time unless he really needs it.
So here is Rivera just trying to keep it tied. It's 3-3 in the 9th inning of game 1. Varitek is jammed. Easy play for Knobloch, if there is such a thing. And we listen to Jimmy Williams talking to his first base coach Dave Joust about running on Mariano Rivera.
Davey, we run on this guy.
Yeah, he's about a 1-4.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good pitch to throw on. The only thing is it's a good pitch to throw on because it's up in the zone
and hard.
And hard. Yeah. He's a real good fielder, but he does not quicken up. He doesn't like to throw over. He'll throw it once.
I got a bunt.
I believe that.
Yeah, okay. I just asked him.
Yeah.
Talking about exactly what you two were talking about, and all the words out. I mean, that's no secret that you can run on Rivera, but as Bob pointed out, easier said than done. If you can get to first base, then you can run.
And what Jimmy said at the end there, I've got a bunt. That's provided Varitek gets on. Then he was going to use a straight bunt with Darren Lewis.
But it didn't happen as Varitek was jammed and he grounded to second. And now with 1 out, nobody on, a 1-ball, 1-strike count on Darren Lewis. Trot Nixon will be next. Two balls and a strike on Lewis. We'd like to thank, of course, Jimmy Williams and Joe Torre for wearing microphones in the dugout, something that no manager likes to do, but willing to let us in to their dugout. 3 balls and a strike from Rivera. That's a sacred place, isn't it? The dugout, when you're talking about things that happen during a game or things that happen away from the ballpark. Joe Torre watching with interest on a 3-1 pitch. Full count on Lewis.
Well, Lewis is a guy, should he reach base, that is certainly capable of stealing.
I was thinking the same thing, Bob. You're right.
And you heard Dave Joust say that Rivera is tough to run on because his pitches are up high in the zone.
Got him over the inside corner. 2 down. So 2 up, 2 down as Rivera bounces back from a 3-1 count.
Plus, with all the rain now, it's almost a quagmire around first base as Rivera's fastball gets Darren Lewis.
Turfismeyer.
Turfismeyer.
I always preferred kitty litter myself.
I know that about you. 2 out, nobody on. Here's Trot Nixon. He has made his presence felt with, I would think even Trot would admit, a lucky catch out in right, and then a terrific throw. But if it had been better handled by Varitek at the plate, may have kept the Red Sox out in front. As it was, Varitek dropped it. And they hit by Jeter. Brocious scored to tie this game at 3 in the 7th inning.
Rivera having a hard time keeping his throwing hand dry right now out there on the mound. See Nixon wiping his sleeve over his helmet. The rain will drip off the bill of your helmet.
Still 0-2. Fans are tough. Only a few have left for the cover of the concourse. As Nixon pops it foul into the upper deck down the right side.
Yeah, baseball's a secular religion in the Northeast corridor.
They hang in, maybe ruin a leather jacket or two. The program. As they watch Rivera with a count of 0-2 deal to Nixon. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Yankees in the bottom of this 9th inning will have Brocious, who's 3 for 3. Knobloch and Jeter. Nixon stays alive. Tough mayor around these parts. And a big Yankee fan. Here's the question. If it were raining like this over at Shea, would he stay?
He wouldn't be in that cap.
Bases empty, 2 down, and Nixon grounds back to Rivera. Inning over. A 1-2-3 inning for Mariano Rivera. Scott Brocious, who is perfect on the night, will lead off for the Yankees. Bottom of the ninth inning, game one, tied at 3. Well, away we go in the bottom of the ninth inning. I've been playing clips from the movie Rocky, earlier the movie Rudy. They're breaking it all out here at Yankee Stadium. Rivera, scoreless top of the ninth before the bottom of the ninth inning. With Brocious set to lead it off, we take you down to Steve Lyons. Steve.
Guys, it might be interesting to know that Scott Brocious, coming into this at bat needing just a double for the cycle, is from McMinnville, Oregon, where it rains about 9 months out of the year. So if anybody in that Yankee lineup is used to hitting in the mud and rain, he can smell a hit coming.
Well, Steve, it has never happened in postseason play, a player hitting for the cycle. He has homered, tripled, singled, and scored, and he lacks only a double to accomplish that feat that's never been done in the postseason. We look at our game summary. We're all the way into the bottom of the ninth inning. Boston got 2 runs in the first. Derek Jeter error figured in heavily. Offerman an RBI single in the second. It was 3-0 Boston until Brocious hit a 2-run shot with 2 out. The bottom of the second, a 1-run game until Brocious scored on a base hit by Jeter on a ball that was dropped at the plate by the catcher Veritek. Tied it at 3 in the bottom of the 7th, and now here we go into the bottom of the 9th inning. Derek Lowe is in the dugout with, you just saw the jacket covering his pitching arm. And they're going to work on the field, on the base paths, and we will take a quick break. Possibly not. It depends on how quickly this grounds crew, which is known for dancing to YMCA between innings, can pick up the rakes and sprint off the field, which is always a dangerous thing to do when the ground's wet. Guy's an artist. And they're going to bring more of that stuff out.
Remember that number, 10 tons.
They're Deacon Lowe here. He came back out, was going to warm up, and now here they come with more bags. All right, let's take a commercial. We'll come back. You won't miss anything. We promise.
I knew.
We welcome you back to Yankee Stadium. There are 4,000 people on the field trying to get this field ready. We take you back to the construction of Yankee Stadium, which began May 5th of 1922 for a ballpark that opened on April 18th of 1923. They've added to the upper deck down the foul lines, at least in fair territory, since they first put Yankee Stadium together. The house that Ruth built. They crammed 74,200 in this ballpark at one time. They had bleachers out in the outfield, benches. Eventually, it grew out beyond the foul lines down each side. You see the upper deck down the right side. The first game here at Yankee Stadium, April 18 of 1923. And we talk about the history of this rivalry and how these two franchises are intertwined. They defeated the Boston Red Sox in 1923 when, with Babe Ruth in their lineup, they beat Boston April 18th. 35 World Series, 30 championship fights here at Yankee Stadium. 1958 NFL championship game, the Colts and Giants, called the greatest game ever. 2 papal visits. And we will read the newspaper at the time. April 18, 1923, Yankee Stadium opens today. Red Sox face the league champions. Men's
suits, 45 to 78 bucks.
Stock exchange back then. The low market 1923, and you look at the players, including Babe Ruth. While we talk about the ironies, the way these two franchises are intertwined, not only did the Red Sox open this ballpark, but the New York team, called the Highlanders at the time, very next year became the New York Yankees, opened Fenway in 1912. finally, the grounds crew is finished. You look out at the retired numbers and eventually Monument Park, which was put together back in 1932. The rain has stopped. We talk more about this rivalry and the Red Sox indeed playing second fiddle, at least after Ruth was sold to the Yankees. First meeting in 1903. Finished 1-2 12 times, with the Yankees finishing on top of the Red Sox 9 of those 12 times. The 1978 one-game playoff for the AL East title, the Bucky Dent home run off Mike Torres. The 1941 Ted Williams hits .406. DiMaggio the 56-game hitting streak, and Joe D won the MVP. While we say the name Joe DiMaggio, you will notice on the left sleeve Scott Brocious, as he digs in, the number 5 in tribute to the late Joe DiMaggio, who passed away this year.
And the black armband in tribute to Jim Catfish Hunter.
Finally, after all that, a roller to third that's foul for strike one, and we're underway in the bottom of the 9th inning.
And with all the turf that's been dumped onto the infield area, footing figures to be very treacherous. That composite will absorb the moisture, but it gets clumped in the cleats of the base runners and the defenders.
The 1-ball, 1-strike count now as that misses outside to Brocious, who again, you look at the spikes of Jason Varitek. Again, Brocious lacks only the double to hit for the cycle. A nasty pitch down and away, strike 2.
Also, the outfield is very wet. No turf in the outfield, so when that ball hits, if it's a line drive, it's going to scoot and make it very difficult to pick up if you're an outfielder.
Brocious leading off in the bottom of the 9th inning, a 3-3 game. The 1-2 pitch just got a piece. If that ball does skip in the outfield, you may be looking at the first guy to hit for the cycle in the postseason. 10 Yankees have done it in their storied history. And here is Brocious, who has homered, tripled, singled in that order. Cormier and Beck are both ready. And that came back for strike 3. 1 out. Brocious doesn't agree with a call. Delayed call by McClelland, and that strikeout number 4 for Derek Lowe.
Oh, you remember that pitch to Tino Martinez that tailed back over the inside part of the plate. This one did the same thing, same side of the plate, only a right-handed hitter up there. That late tailing fastball, a very effective pitch.
Now Knobloch, who has grounded out, flied out, walked, and dropped down a sacrifice bunt. Jeter next. That hits the inside corner. Jeter tied this game his last time up in the 7th. An RBI hit to right. Knobloch on his backswing may have come back and hit the catcher, Varitek, so he hopped out of there. The 0-1. Strike 2.
See if Lowe tries to hit that outside corner with that comeback sinker once again. Started just off of the outside corner. Try to tail it back in there and get the called strike.
The 0-2 pitch from Lowe.
Got away with one there. That was a real hanging breaking ball. I think what saved him, the pitch was too high for Knobloch.
You see Jason Varitek laying his catcher's mitt on the ground, telling his pitcher, get it down, get it down. He left that pitch up over the fat part of the plate.
Again, the 0-2, and Knobloch just got a piece. The rain is all but stopped. Little mist here in the 9th inning. This rivalry, these two teams meeting for the first time ever in the postseason. Wouldn't you know, game 1 is a 3-3 tie in the 9th. Big numbers in his career for Knobloch against Lowe. Valentin, a diving stop. Too late, base hit. And the winning run is on for the Yankees.
Great play by John Valentin. Look how quickly he gets to his feet. Just missing the speedy Knobloch.
Looked like after Valentin made the catch, as he was diving, he was able to get his body turned and in a better position so that he was able to get to his feet quickly and throw strong to first base, but Knobloch was just too much speed.
Another thing, on a breaking ball away, a right-handed batter gets down to first base a lot quicker than if he were jammed. And that helped Knobloch get a good jump out of the box.
Knobloch may have injured himself coming across the bag, and he will get a visit from Gene Monahan and Joe Torre as Jose Cardinal is in on the meeting.
I think what he did was jam that right foot in making sure he was safe. It's the left foot. Then coming down on the right foot, it didn't appear there that trainer Gene Monahan looking at the right foot of Chuck Knobloch.
May have been on the trip down the baseline.
Yeah.
Knobloch is okay to stay in, and he carries the winning run in his back pocket. Derek Jeter stands in. Just had the Derek Jeter cereal unveiled last week in Manhattan.
That's a Jethro Bodine cereal bowl right there.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's
proceeds go to the Turn 2 Foundation, which promotes healthy lifestyles for teenagers. It's available regionally, including the states of Michigan and New York. From Michigan, Jeter has been a hero so many times, and he takes ball one down and in.
Troy O'Leary in left field playing Derek straight away. Center fielder Darren Lewis drifted toward right center field. There's a big area in left center.
To the third baseman, Valentin fires to second to get the lead man. 2 gone. Knobloch is forced. A good play to keep the winning run out of scoring position, and Jimmy Williams with O'Neill coming up is going to go to the only left-hander he has in his bullpen, Real Cormier.
Chuck Knobloch, bad foot and all, going hard for first into second base to make sure the Red Sox were unable to turn a double play.
And that's it for Derek Lowe. As Knobloch goes back into the dugout gingerly, Lowe did another fine job for the Red Sox. He keeps it tied here in the ninth. Strong effort again tonight for Derek Lowe and for this Boston bullpen. The numbers for Lowe as he hands the baton to Real Cormier, the only left-hander for the Red Sox in their pen.
Jimmy Williams has to be very judicious about his use of Real Cormier, but this figures to be as good a time as any. A tough left-hander in Paul O'Neill coming to the plate. He brings on his only left-handed reliever.
Tomorrow it's game 2 of this ALCS at 8 o'clock. The Red Sox and Yankees. David Cohn against Ramon Martinez. Then Friday night on NBC with Bob Costas, Joe Morgan, Jim Gray, 8 Eastern. Game 3. Braves and Mets at Shea Stadium with the Braves up 2-0. This is game 1 of the ALCS, and it's 3-3 in the bottom of the 9th inning. Winning run at first. Good speed as Jeter will take his lead, and Paul O'Neill stands in.
O'Neill, a 190 hitter against left-handed pitching this year.
Facing Cormier. And he takes a ball. The big question for the Yankees coming into this series, was O'Neill healthy enough to not only stay active on the active roster, but eventually to start in this opener of the ALCS? A broken rib on his right side. He could be the hero of game 1. 1 on, 2 out. Tie game. And a strike makes it 1-1. O'Neill, a mild argument with Tim McClellan. So the Red Sox in a game started by Kent Mercker. And the influence of the Red Sox bullpen tied with the Yankees here in the 9th inning. If we go to the 10th inning, it would be the top of the order for Boston. Offerman, Valentin, and Daubach. Anybody gets on Garciaparra, and it would appear it would be facing Mariano Rivera.
Nobody warming for the Yankees, so Rivera will be back out there in the 10th. That's another thing by bringing a left-hander in. You do two things. You suit him up against Paul O'Neill, batting only .190 against lefties this year, and you keep Derek Jeter closer at first base with the left-hander.
Winning run, Jeter at first with 2 out here in the 9th inning.
Looks like he's running here.
Cormier gives him a look. Track conditions sloppy. Rained heavily here the last couple of innings. The rain is now stopped. But more mud than dirt on the infield. Jeter with his lead. 1 ball, 1 strike on O'Neill. And the crowd will start to get all over Cormier.
Well, it's shaky footing not only for base runners but for the infielders as well. If Derek Jeter breaks for second base, he may have problems with his footing, but so will Jose Offerman and Nomar Garciaparra as they break to cover the bag.
One ball, 1 strike on O'Neill. That's strike 2, and Cormier and the Red Sox 1 strike away from sending this to the 10th.
That pitch was hammerable. Fastball on the fat part of the plate. Kent Mercker doing a good job against Paul O'Neill, keeping the ball away earlier. Mariano Rivera. Rivera has worked 2 innings in a game only 3 times this year. And none more than 2 innings.
The feet of Derek Jeter as he takes his lead. 1 ball, 2 strikes on O'Neill. That's foul. And a nice pick on the other end by Jose Cardinal. Now we always show Don Zimmer, and he's a big character in the dugout for the Yankees. Jose Cardinal is as big a character. Now, not only do you get a character, but you get that look from Don Zimmer, which the cameras just seem to find him.
Yeah, it looked like Zimmer was giving Jose Cardinal a hard time.
Absolutely.
After throwing that ball up into the stands, he made a face at it.
Jose, of course, being politically correct there, throwing it up.
1 on, 2 out, 1 ball, 2 strikes on O'Neill. 2-2 from Real Cormier, who has undergone Tommy John surgery. Took him over a year to feel right again. Came up through the St. Louis organization, New Brunswick, Canada. Guy who would chop wood in the offseason to stay in shape.
He's still in that business, trying to break O'Neill's bat.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 on, 2 out. Tie game, 9th inning. Do it again.
Well, with their outfield defense, the Red Sox are certainly anticipating Paul O'Neill hitting the ball to the opposite field. See the center fielder Darren Lewis way over into the gap in left center, and Trot Nixon in right field several steps over into the gap in right center. They're giving O'Neill a lot of room just to the right of center field, also down that right field line.
Also playing a step or 2 deeper than they would normally play to prevent a double. Because if a ball gets by an outfielder, Jeter's going to try to score.
Another 2-2 pitch. That's twice now in this at bat. But just before a pitch is delivered, there's a wild note played on the organ here at Yankee Stadium. Whether intentional or not. But it has escaped from the organist here at this historic ballpark.
That whimsical Eddie Layton on the organ.
It's only happened twice. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Winning run at first with 2 out. 9th inning. Game 1 ALCS. Down the left field line, slicing into the seats.
Cormier's going to have to do something different. He's given O'Neill the same look too many pitches in a row. And you can see slowly but surely Paul is hitting the ball back over the third base dugout, and then he's bringing it around toward that line. Got to mix it up a little bit and then go back out there. Looked like Joe Kerrigan was talking to Jason Varitek and telling him perhaps to go out and talk to Cormier about that very thing.
Yes, the problem is if Cormier wants to come inside on O'Neill, you better make sure you get it inside where he can't hurt you, because as we mentioned, the outfield defense is set up for Paul O'Neill to hit the ball to the opposite field. If you make a mistake on the inside part of the plate and allow Paul O'Neill to pull it, there's a lot of room down the right field line and in right center.
O'Neill dried off the bat, gets back in with a 2-2 count. Switch hitter Bernie Williams on deck. Winning run at first, 2 out, game 1. Back to Cormier. Let's go to the 10th. Extra innings in game 1. Red Sox and Yankees. Top of the order for Boston in the 10th inning. It would seem Rivera will head back to work in a 3-3 game. Mariano Rivera does indeed head back to work for his 2nd inning of relief help for the Yankees. We go to the 10th inning, tied at 3, and we go down to Keith Olbermann. Keith.
Joe, Chuck Knobloch will go back to work here in the 10th inning as well. The injury that we saw in the last inning was not on the play at first base, but the foul ball, rather, that he jammed off the back of his right ankle above the calf, or apparently above the ankle. I'm getting my, I didn't get my medical degree, as you can tell. Trainer Gene Monahan was watching him throughout, and will continue to do so, but Bobby said he was all right to go out again. Joe?
So he's back in the field, and so is Rivera. And again, Mariano Rivera, who has thrown 2 full innings 3 times this season, has never gone more than 2 innings in 1999. Will work to the top of the order. And then if this game should continue, more decisions for Joe Torre.
Rivera only threw 14 pitches in that 9th inning. So if he has an economical 10th, perhaps Joe would send him out there in the 11th, unless the Yankees, of course, score in the bottom of the 10th.
Be sure to stay tuned to Fox for your late local news immediately following this game. For those of you who want more coverage of tonight's game, turn to your local Fox Sports Net or Fox Sports News. But right now it's the 10th inning. Game 1 of this ALCS, tied at 3, and Jose Offerman, 2 out of 4, leads off and is overmatched with strike 1. Offerman, Valentin, and Daubach. Feeling we'll be seeing a few of those throughout the next week and a half. 1 ball, 1 strike. Offerman lines a base hit into right field, and a good start to the 10th inning for Boston. Well played by O'Neill on that wet grass out in right, and it's a leadoff single. 3rd hit of the night for Jose Offerman. That's the good news. Here's the bad news. The right-hander that the Red Sox try to score against here in this postseason game has been basically untouchable his career in the postseason. A record of 2-0, an ERA of 0.47. 9 saves. He hasn't given up a run since that Sandy Alomar Jr. home run back in the division series in 1997. Here's Valentin. Was reached on a fielder's choice, scored a run, and doubled.
John Valentin has sacrificed one time only in 1999. You almost have to bunt here, though. I think you play it straight up just like Joe Torre did with Chuck Knobloch, setting up the tying run back in the 7th.
And Rivera with that throw to first base, not so much to try to pick off Jose Offerman, to see if John Valentin would give away whether he's going to bunt or not.
He's not, and that's strike one. Yeah, these are unusual circumstances.
Yep.
First of all, you're in game 1 of the ALCS. More importantly, you're facing Mariano Rivera. You've got your number 3 hitter Dahlbach on deck. If you can avoid the double play and get that runner down to second, then you can get Nomar Garciaparra to the plate. They're swinging with Valentin, and the count's 0-2. First base runner for the Red Sox since a leadoff hit in the 6th inning by Veritek. And it's Offerman with a leadoff hit here in the 10th.
You may remember in our Sounds of the Game a couple of innings ago when Jimmy Williams was talking to first base coach Dave Joust about Mariano Rivera. Can you run on him? They determined that it would be tough, but it can be done. And they said at the time Rivera does not like to throw to first. He's made 2 throws over there in this at bat.
And now Offerman starts and stops. Posada lost control of it as he popped up. That pitch did miss the strike zone by much. 1-2.
Even though Rivera is a 1-speed pitcher, that's one of the things that running against him will do, because Jorge Posada has a very difficult time centering the ball when Rivera releases that fastball. He had 2 pass balls earlier in the year. He didn't lay a glove on him. The balls hit him in the forearm.
A 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 96 from Rivera.
In order to make a clean throw to second base, you have to catch the ball cleanly. The ball can't be caught in the heel of the glove or the webbing of the glove. It's got to be caught in the pocket to make the transfer properly.
Go ahead run at first with nobody out. Offerman starts and stops, and a ground ball to third. Down to second, out. They call him out, and we are going to get an argument. Jimmy Williams comes firing out of the dugout. They say it was on the transfer, and Offerman is forced at second to put out 5-4. And with Valentin running, the Yankees just missed a chance for a double play.
No way, in my view, was he in the act of throwing. That ball popped out of his glove. He never even touched the ball. There was no transfer from the glove to the hand. We'll check it out. Ball came out of his glove. He never went into. He was never in the act of throwing. That's a very poor call by second base umpire Rick Reed.
Knobloch never had control of this ball. It hits the glove and comes out immediately. No control in the glove, no control in the hand.
Used to be a cheer in Brooklyn that went, "We was robbed," and the Red Sox was robbed then.
Chuck Knobloch, who committed 26 errors during the regular season, just had a terrible year defensively.
That's a boot.
If Knobloch would have had his bare hand closer to the glove, perhaps he could have made this play. Look how far away from the glove his bare hand was. No control in the glove whatsoever.
None.
Well, we have yet to show you a replay where it looks like it was anywhere close to being an out.
Yankees with a huge break right there.
So instead of 2 on with nobody out, it's the go-ahead run at first, and Dahlbach hits it back to Rivera. It's Jeter in the middle this time in a double play. 1-6-3. And what a turnaround. What a turnaround in a matter of minutes. Yankees catch a break. Still 3-3, bottom of the 10th. back to Yankee Stadium. The Bud 1 airship is overhead here in the Bronx. The brewmasters at Budweiser remind you that fresh beer tastes better. Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball and the American League Championship Series. See a raindrop on the lens up the camera on the Bud 1 airship, and now it's Rod Beck who takes over in the bottom of the 10th inning. He's the 5th pitcher of the night for the Red Sox.
Beck came over from the Chicago Cubs for left-handed pitcher Mark Guthrie and minor league third baseman Cole Liniak at the trade deadline. Pitched in his first game on the 1st of September. He came into the ball game. Jason Varitek, his catcher, came out to the mound and very politely introduced himself. Hi, I'm Jason. What do you throw? First time they'd had an opportunity to talk to each other. Rod Beck picked up a save in that first outing.
One thing he doesn't throw that he used to. Just the 3 sure things around here. Red Sox trying to break that curse. The one thing he doesn't throw is that overpowering fastball like he used to. Watch the velocity on the Fox box in the top left-hand corner of your screen. That's about as hard as he'll throw with any pitch. Maybe 88, maybe 89, but he probably won't touch 90.
So if that's the case, you do not want to toy with Bernie Williams in there with an 87-mile-an-hour fastball. That's his strength.
A shot into center field. Back, track, wall gone. And with that, the Yankees have won Game 1 of the